Welcome back to the kick-off. We've just finished watching Manchester United lose again in the Premier League. That's 4 defeats, only 3 wins, and the 3 wins, let's be honest, they limped over it. It was, and look, I'm sick of saying stuff about Ten Hag, lads. I'm just a hater. I'm just a hater. Jacob, we got debut today.
Thank you, mate.
What do you think of Man United at the minute, mate?
Same thing. I've been thinking about them for about 2 years. They're dreadful. But do you know why they're dreadful? Because all their players are dreadful, and all the players are dreadful because they've got a dreadful manager that buys dreadful players. I don't know what United fans are seeing in any of it. I don't know what they're seeing in the tactics. I don't know what they like about the squad. There's nothing there to believe in.
I can't understand how they can keep staunchly defending Ten Hag as well. I've never seen a team lose as many games of football at what are supposedly one of the best clubs in the world, which I'm not denying that they're a massive club, but they're not behaving like it. And yet, Joey, you've seen it. They just back Ten Hag blindly.
Yeah, you can't really say anything bad about Ten Hag, and the first thing that people will say now is they'll level the injury crisis at you. Yes, they've got injuries. I'm sure Palace had injuries today, maybe not to the same extent, but all teams pick up injuries. When you look at the lineup they've started today, they got Mason Mount, their £50 million central midfielder, back in. They got
Casemiro.
The 30-odd-year-old Casemiro, who they spent, 70-odd million or something on. They've got, Højlund, the new boy, in. They've got a good enough lineup, and no disrespect to Crystal Palace, that you would believe would be going and beating Crystal Palace. And I said something about Man United in the week, and then they went and turned Palace over in the cup, and everyone said, bet you wish you hadn't have uploaded that. Well, no, I've sort of don't mind uploading it now, because look what's happened. So it's mad how this is going for Ten Hag. And at the start of the season, what odds he was to get sacked. So this was first to get sacked, because bearing in mind we're 6 games in, which on the last few seasons, a little bit surprising no one's been sacked yet, but 250 to 1 he was. When I checked, before the final whistle went, he was 16 to 1. I would say more likely now he's going to be about 14 to 1. So it's a mad fall from grace early on in this season, isn't it?
I think Man United fans, the reason they defend him so much is because of the first season he had. I think getting them back into the Champions League, winning a cup, albeit the League Cup, getting to a FA Cup final, so they could have actually had 2 pieces of silverware. I thought it was a decent first season. The football wasn't great. They were still playing transitional football. They were playing on the counter. I think they expected this season for it to kick on, and it's gone backwards. So I think now they need to evaluate.
Why has it gone backwards, lads? You know why it's gone backwards?
Go on.
Marcus Rashford's not on fire. Simple as that. And this was a plaster over an axe wound that Man United fans were blind to. And it's just so funny, right? Because this notion of Ten Hag's improved Marcus Rashford. No, he didn't. Marcus Rashford never got any better under Ten Hag than what we'd seen him previously. He had a dip in form, he went back into form, and now he's out of form again. It had nothing to do with Ten Hag. And we're seeing under Ten Hag now, the guy's got 1 goal in, 7 games, and this is what happens.
He does this every season, though.
Yeah.
He does this every season, Rashford. He has a purple patch, and then he goes quiet for 2 months. Every single season. He's done that under every manager he's played under. And I don't understand what United fans have got in the way of excuses for Ten Hag. What do they like about him? I think they like the idea of him. I think they like the idea of a clever Dutch manager who's worked under Guardiola coming in and doing good stuff. They still play on the break. They still don't dominate games. They still don't create chances. It's not his fault that the players are bad. It is his fault. He bought all of those players. They're all his players.
Yeah. But can we say it's solely Ten Hag's fault? I mean, he is the manager right now, so what's happening right now is down to him. But can we say it's solely his fault when, since Fergie departed and since the Glazers have been there, no manager has really been that successful? Their most successful manager is Jose Mourinho, and they hated his guts. So is it really the manager's fault, or is it a thing where we do have to be looking above them?
Every manager has a chance. Ange had a chance, and he took it with Spurs, and he's turning things around.
Yeah, but our club's not as toxic as Man United's club at this point.
You have to judge it for what it is. If you get, let's not kid ourselves, Ten Hag net spend has spent more money in just over a year than Jurgen Klopp spent as an entirety of being Liverpool manager. And that's why Man United fans got excited, because we're getting all these new players, we got this new manager, things are going to change. They're not changing. So if they're not changing, you got to look at the manager's tactics, the way he's selecting teams, and tactically, especially going back to that, he gets found out a lot.
So often. So often. And also, and I get what you're saying, that they haven't been good since Fergie. There is also a world in which the reason they've not been good is because all those managers are bad. All the managers you're talking about, the ones that have left, they've not gone on and done anything, have they? How many of those managers have gone on and done anything? Solskjaer's nowhere. Like, I think Roma have had the worst start they've ever had under Mourinho this season. Moyes is back at West Ham. Like, it might be a bad setup at United. Still doesn't excuse the fact they're all bad managers.
But then if you get rid of him, let's say they sack him, right? And then you go get another manager again, and then the same thing happens again.
Yeah.
You're just going to be in a vicious cycle
that's what
because the problems outside of the manager still exist. Whether the manager's good or not, there are actually problems at Manchester United Football Club that we're seeing.
But we can't allow like this to be the excuse of, oh well, we've done this before. Yeah, you've picked another bad manager. Like at some point, you will pick a good manager, and good things will happen. Like Newcastle changed from Steve Bruce to Eddie Howe. It was, things work sometimes.
No, but that was the Mike Ashley thing as well, though. You changed owners.
Yeah, and that helped as well. But the difference is Manchester United consistently spend lots and lots and lots of money. They spend more than any other club in the country, and we act like, oh, it's impossible to change because we still got the same owners. You're literally changing nearly every player on that football.
I think we're ignoring there's middle ground as well, because the sort of criticism we're levelling, if you'd call it that, Man United fans, is they're not willing to accept that Ten Hag's making mistakes. You can accept it and you can level that criticism at it without saying he needs to be sacked necessarily. Say, for example, there's plenty of things that I don't think Pochettino's done right. I wouldn't like him starting Levi Colwill at left back. It doesn't mean that I'm saying he needs to be sacked. But with Man United fans, there's almost like, and you know what? I shouldn't level this criticism at all of them, but you see it in the comments especially, and I know that's not the real world all the time, but there's no accountability on Ten Hag's behalf. He can't do anything wrong. Everything, there's other factors. It's the injuries, it's this, it's that. They've had an awful start.
If there's a Man
season.
United fan out there right now who isn't contemplating deep down, even if they're not able to bring themselves to say it publicly, because the 99% of the YouTube Man United guys have backed him as if he's the second coming, you have to be thinking in terms of like, surely we've got this wrong a little bit. He can't be as good as you thought.
Can we also address the fact that he's falling out with players, right? Yep. Let's say, for example, in any workplace, it doesn't matter whether someone's in a higher, more senior position. You like who you like. So by upsetting one player, he's going to have upset other players in that dressing room. There'll be players that maybe don't think he deserves to be on the pitch, but there'll be players that like Maguire. There'll be players that like Sancho. There'll be players that, for other reasons or whatever, he'll have upset players around him, and it could start to sort of sieve into how other players are perceiving him. And I'm not saying they're down in tools, but it could maybe start to not have them on board.
Let's take McTominay. Do you see that lack of tracking back against Bayern Munich the other day? That ain't a coincidence.
And that's his whole thing. That's McTominay's whole thing. He's like, no one's saying he's got good technique. He's not a passer. His whole thing is work rate.
Exactly.
So if you've got players who they've been known for their work rate, not running for you, what are you? And also the whole thing with the owners, like, I'm not saying the Glazers are good owners. They're obviously bad owners, but good managers make bad owners look good. Look at Arsenal, right?
Look at Klopp as well.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah. For years, Arsenal fans were outside protesting outside the Emirates. They hated the owners. Arteta, good manager, comes in. No one talking about the owners anymore. And the thing with the United owners,
this is so true, mate.
It's true.
No, but it wasn't. But that's the thing. It wasn't just Arteta though. Like you hired Edu, Stan Kroenke. His son started taking more interest in the club and running it properly. You started investing a lot more since Arteta came in.
But what do those guys do? Like in terms of Edu and them, they go out and buy the players. Like what do United fans want the Glazers to do? The Glazers have said to Ten Hag, have as much money as you want, buy whatever players you want. What more do they want?
The fact that they're not getting their primary targets, which I can accept. Like sometimes you will end up not getting your first choice, like Newcastle did with Slobozlai this season.
Yeah, but you're Man United.
Sometimes you got to deal with that.
No, but you're Man United. I think that's why they're frustrated, because you're Man United. Like 10 years ago, you're Man United. You want Harry Kane, you get Harry Kane. Now it's like, we want Harry Kane, we get Højlund, we get fake Haaland now.
Man City don't do that. They couldn't get Maguire. There's plenty of other players that Pep has wanted. He said we couldn't afford him. We didn't want to play the premium. Man United did, or whatever. Like, I think you're all making good points, but the notion that Ten Hag is as good as what everyone said he was last season is complete bullshit now.
Where's the evidence?
And what we're seeing the evidence of is when Rashford or Bruno turn up, they will, nick goals here and there. But he has not got this overall team, which he spent hundreds of millions of pounds on, playing anywhere near the Ten Hag ball that was rumoured to be starting.
But what is Ten Hag ball? Like what is Ten Hag?
I've got no idea how
Ajax played it.
I watched them in the Champions League. They were incredible. I watched them in the Champions League. They were playing false nine. It was intelligent, smart, quick football. Ever since he's got United, all it looks like they want to do is play on the break.
So then what's the? But that's what I'm saying. And I'm not sitting here trying to defend Ten Hag. I'm trying to make a balanced argument and conversation here. And what I'm saying is, based on what you just said, the common denominator there then seems to be Man United, because you just said, at Ajax, they were playing that football. He's come to Man United and it's changed. And the glaring thing for me about Man United, and the reason I'm saying about the owners and the club as a whole, always goes back to that Cristiano Ronaldo interview he did with Piers Morgan, where he was talking about the club top to bottom. He wasn't even happy with Ten Hag because Ten Hag basically throws him out. But he didn't make the basis of his interview about Ten Hag.
No.
It was about Man United and the club. This is someone who is a legend at that club, loves that club, went back because it, well, really, it wasn't. Yeah, but he
was
went
Ten
back.
Hag's decision to get rid of him, though.
No, I know that. But what I'm saying is when he did the interview, he was criticising the club. He's like, this wasn't the club like I used to love. They're so stagnant that when I left, things looked like this back in 09. Nothing's changed. He was talking about the facilities and the way it's run and all of these things.
The overall football club isn't in the best state, but yet they're still spending more money than everyone else. Ten Hag has been backed. That's not an opinion, is it? Is it? You know, and yet we're looking now at this Premier League season. They've lost 4 games this season. It's not even October. They lost 9 the entirety of last season. Like, in the games they have won, we're not sitting there going, that was a great performance from Man United generally. So, if anything, I think we're seeing a second season where it's getting worse, not better. Like.
Normally, you wouldn't associate that with a second season with a manager that's just come in. So in the first season, at first, for the most part, you'd say, okay, it's not his players and whatever. It's almost been the flip reverse of what you'd normally get. Normally, you'd have a manager being underwhelming, not as successful, but then he gets his players in and then it starts to come good. His players have been shit. For the most part, they've been rubbish, haven't they? Like, he's got his players in, they've been no good.
Because all last season, when you were getting humped 7-0 by Liverpool, it's fine, let him have it off. Next season is when it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's going backwards. So the more players he gets to sign, and the more he's there, the worse it's getting. And yet, we're all delusional. You fucking idiots.
This is the real reason, though, that you need a proper director of football to actually run the acquisition and recruitment for your club. Like, I'm looking at Chelsea now, and fair enough, we're going to have a lot of misses, but we're also going to have a lot of...
But Pochettino is also having a lot to say with transfers.
We're going to have a lot of wins, but then also, like, this is the thing, like, you can't rely on managers.
But managers have a say in all transfers. Eddie Howe does, Pochettino does.
A say. But this guy, he's going, who have I worked with before? Anana, bring it in. You know, who have I worked with?
I'm just saying, it's not a viable excuse for why... The whole point is Ten Hag is this great manager, and that's what I've been told from the day he stepped foot in the door. And him now getting his transfers wrong doesn't exonerate him from being blamed for not being good.
Who would you say is a bad transfer? Who is a wrong transfer?
Anthony, I don't think is going to come good. I wouldn't say Anthony's going to come good. I think Højlund's a good one. Højlund, I actually think will come good.
We don't even know yet.
Maybe if you look at the price tag.
I thought Martinez was a good one.
Yeah, but then this season he's been underwhelming. And sometimes I was making this point, and this is completely hypothetical, but it's like, you know, when players come in and do good, especially in this Man United team, is that because they've come from elevated levels, and then when they start to adapt a little bit, it's like anything, you start to get a bit comfortable and you start letting it slip a little bit.
Do you rate Martinez? Do you rate him as a centre back, Martinez? Would you say he's on the better end?
I think he looks better than what he does now.
I think he's a decent centre back. I wouldn't necessarily say, he walks into every top 6 team. I don't think he gets into many. But another thing as well is it's like, careful what you wish for, because they had what I would describe as a yes man in Ollie, yeah, and then they had obviously Ranić, who didn't really have the courage of his convictions. So when Ten Hag came in and he started being this disciplinarian, Man United fans were having an orgasm every single time he told a player off. Do you know what I mean? It was like, brilliant, we've got this strict man. And now I just think it's coming back to bite him in the foot a little bit.
When we're talking about recruitment and we're saying like go one by one, what is their strategy? Like if you look at other clubs, right? You look at Arsenal and their transfer business, you go, right, there's a kind of a plan here. We want technical players, we want players that can fill in multiple different positions. With Chelsea, it's under 25-year-olds. Like there's a plan there. You can see that there's adults deciding that strategy. With Man United, you just go, Onana, he's good with his feet. Mason Mount, he was available from Chelsea. Yeah. Højlund was the one that everyone wanted from Serie A.
Most of them, it's Dutch or they've played for Ajax. That's it. Yeah. That's literally, and also none of them add up. Like how do you piece together a midfield of Bruno, Mount, and Casemiro? It doesn't make sense. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
And that's why the Mount transfer isn't a bad transfer, but in terms of like the player's quality, it's a bad transfer in terms of fitting him into the team.
Casemiro's the same, by the way. Yeah, Casemiro's the same, by the way. I would say now, I don't think that makes sense as a transfer. When you look at the age of him, when you look at what he was playing in at Real Madrid, it wasn't going to work. And the fact that they've bought Amrabat, I think, is basically an admission that he can't run anymore. They've had to put someone next to him, so now you've got 2 sixes. It doesn't make any sense. Like, a year or so ago, you kind of had an idea of what they were trying to build. Now I've got no idea. Yeah. I've got no idea. They've got Onana, this ticky-tacky pass it from the back goalkeeper, passing it out to defenders who often can't play with their feet. Like at the end of the Arsenal game, I was watching Onana give the ball to Maguire and Johnny Evans. And I know they had injuries in that game, but it doesn't make sense.
Onana's a very questionable signing so far.
It's a strange signing. It's a
I'm
really
not saying
strange signing.
he can't come good, but his basic goalkeeping skills have been average so far, and he's made a lot of mistakes, and we're told that it's all right because he can pass. I'm not saying he won't come good, but it's questionable, as are a lot of them.
Football comes down to how many points you're going to get at the end of the season. And I've asked the question before, but it's a relevant one. Does Onana's passing ability and his vision and ability to get the game moving quickly from that position, does it accumulate in more points than a good shot stopper? Because I don't think, look, we're not saying he's not going to come good, but I'm just saying I don't think anyone at the minute can go, it's a good shot stopper. I'd say Robert Sanchez is better than him. He's not a great shot stopper. So then it's about how highly do you rate this passing ability? Is it going to...
I think to play devil's advocate on that one though, no one else has picked up David De Gea. So it's like they had to do something, didn't they? They had to do something, didn't they? So they had to sign someone.
Done.
But yeah, like it's a lot of money for a goalkeeper that isn't really a level up.
I just
Can I list out these transfers just to get a feel for when you hear them back to back? Anthony, that's €95 million by the way. Højlund, Casemiro, Mason Mount, Martinez, Onana, Malacia, Amrabat, like Weghorst, Dubravka, Eriksson, Johnny Evans, Butland, Sabitzer, Reguilon. When you list them out in full and you think about the level of money that's been spent, you're not thinking like, wow, you've really spent well.
Is there a sure thing on there? Did he just read one where you go, right, he's a definite sure thing? Because even when we said Højlund...
there's one, and I'd say Casemiro. Since this season
I think he's been pretty poor.
Last season he was poor.
No,
He was
not
all
last
right.
season.
He was all right.
He's only been there one season and these 6 games.
Yeah.
So
But when
I
you
think,
buy, sorry to interrupt, but when you buy a 31-year-old,
yeah.
you're only buying for one season.
Yeah, he's been here and now.
No one thinks he's going to turn it around next year.
But the thing is, this season they've been poor, and he's been scoring goals somehow, and he's not. That's not even his role. Casemiro.
Not necessarily built to score goals.
I think out of all of those signings, the only 3 I could say were good, decent signings were Martinez, Eriksson. Was Eriksson a free as well?
He was cheap. I know that.
Eriksson,
Yeah, he was
Martinez, and Casemiro. They're the 3 I think.
So not Mount.
I think Højlund's
Well, we
got
don't
to be
know.
in there. Well, Højlund's got to be in there as a good
Maybe.
signing.
But we don't know.
Maybe.
But
You
purely,
don't know,
but
man.
purely
It's 6
because he was the
games.
hottest prospect in that league. Like a lot of big teams were in for him.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
a lot of people fancy him.
But I'm not going on potential or what they can be. I'm saying Ten Hag started at the beginning of last season. Since he started up until now, 6 games into this season, what have we seen from these players and who's actually delivered? And I think those 3, Eriksson, Martinez and Casemiro, have shown something. The rest of them, and I know some are new because it's this season, haven't done anything.
Here's the main problem is like Rashford carried him, Bruno carried him, and he hasn't built a plan B, in my opinion. And whenever that happens, I've said this for months, whenever they don't deliver, Man United look absolutely out of ideas. That's 100% on Ten Hag, and how any Man United fan can make excuses for him at this point. I don't know what to say. I'm actually astounded by the stupidity.
Can I give you another hypothetical? And this is me just thinking into psychology a little bit, maybe. Either Jadon Sancho's really, really stubborn, yeah, or he thinks, I'm not going to come out and apologise to you publicly because you're not going to be here soon because I know you've lost the dressing room. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying he has lost the dressing room, but I'm saying it's a little hypothetical we can think into
Jadon
there.
Sancho, they brought back Anthony mid-scandal. You know, I'm not saying the guy is guilty or innocent or whatever, but they've brought him back in the middle of this trial and everything that's going on right now. And yet, Jadon Sancho ain't allowed in the fucking place.
He's not allowed to eat with them.
So when you think about it, like, Jadon Sancho, dodgy tweet, you're not allowed in. Anthony, come on down. And it's just interesting logic. You know what I mean?
It's interlinked, obviously.
Yeah.
Like that decision with Anthony's been made for footballing reasons. They've not made that on a moral decision. They've not looked into these claims properly. If your club have just gone through what they've gone through with Mason Greenwood, you would be so careful with this, wouldn't you?
And yet,
like,
what they said
your
at the end,
nightmare.
I don't know if
is
you've
this
seen
happening again.
the statement, mate, but at the end they're like, we're very aware of how serious allegations are. And it's like, you've not acted that way.
Yeah.
You know?
Then why are you doing it? Like any other club in the world, if that had happened to you in the summer, you'd be going, whatever happens again, we're super duper careful. We don't allow anything like this to happen. We put a player on suspension. We do the proper investigations. Because of footballing reasons, because they don't have any other players that they believe in, that's why Anthony's come back in now. It's not because they think they've done a proper investigation.
They're probably thinking, how often does something like this happen? At least we got a bit of, another one, for God's sake.
Lightning couldn't strike twice now.
Yeah.
Right, well, we'll
Anthony, hold my beer.
We'll park Man United there because I know the Man United fans will get me pissed off with us. But I'm genuinely, I've said so many things about Ten Hag in time, and I'm actually fed up with how you're just labelled a hater, and then they keep losing. I'm like, am I still hating for no reason?
Yeah.
Am I just an emotional guy?
You're getting right every game goes by.
Yeah, getting worse and worse.
I wouldn't worry about him getting pissed off. Yeah, I don't think you're in a good books.
No, I'm never going to be. But I just didn't need it, do I? We're watching Spurs versus Liverpool today. Big game, both undefeated. Last week we were questioning, are Spurs in a title race? Craig said not quite, but I mean, if you beat Liverpool today, especially with Man City losing, which we'll get onto, that's big, mate. That is massive, in fact.
I still don't think it puts us in the title race, and I'm not gonna feed into that narrative. I just wanna fly under the radar, play some football. I know everyone's talking about Ange right now, and he's turned things around really quickly, which I'm very happy about. We're playing good football. Maddison's on fire. Basuma's running things in the midfield. However, to say a title charge in his first season with these great teams, and I'm not even just talking about the big teams like Liverpool coming back and Man City, Arsenal. There's these Brightons now. There's Aston Villas. There's all kinds of good footballing sides around right now. So we're seeing the table. If Spurs lose today, like you said, we're basically sixth. Anything could change. So I just want to try and win this game. It's going to be a very difficult game against Liverpool 2.0, as they're calling them right now.
Yeah, and the thing about the Premier League is so right, because we've seen today Aston Villa hump Brighton. Brighton have humped Newcastle, and Newcastle have humped Aston Villa. Like, anyone on their day can absolutely not just win, but batter any other team up there. And I feel like it's so unpredictable outside of City.
Yeah.
This top 8 is going to be wild. The only thing we can guarantee is Chelsea won't be anywhere near.
He's been rehearsing that one all day.
One thing I want to say is, though, just from a Spurs standpoint, I just don't want to go behind, because I think in our last 3 games in a row, I believe, we've gone behind and then had to try and claw our way
Twice
back.
against Arsenal. Yeah.
Twice against Arsenal. Sheffield, we were 1-0 down and rescued it in injury time. I can't remember what the game was before, but we went behind. We need to stop doing this falling behind and then trying to claw the game back. We need to just score first. Remember I said that before the game last week. We need to score first if we want to win this game, and we didn't. And it just makes it more difficult. You're fighting an uphill battle from there. So just try and get the first goal today.
I'm just looking at the Premier League table. City top on 18 points, but they've now lost one. Arsenal are on 17 points, and then Liverpool on 16, Villa on 15, Brighton on 15, Spurs on 14. So, like, it felt like a real full-gone conclusion when it comes to City, but now they're slipping up. We might see something.
I think that the biggest winners from today's result, if things go in their favour, will be Liverpool, surely. Liverpool are the team that are going to gain the most. Say, for example, if they did beat Spurs today, that's the team that are going to gain the most. Because like you were saying, Craig, and there'll be Spurs fans that don't agree with this, but you were saying even if we win today, then you're not necessarily saying we're in the title race sort of thing. Yeah. If Liverpool win today with City dropping points,
they'll go top.
They'll go top. And also the aura around City, I'm not saying anything's going on there where it's going to be downhill, but at least you go, okay, right, they can be got to, because if Wolves can beat you, if you're a Liverpool fan, you're sitting there thinking, okay, we beat you last season, we lost you last season, Wolves can beat you, you're there to be got a little bit, we believe we can go and beat you. So they'll be the ones that sort of gain the most momentum maybe from today's results, I would say.
Let me talk you through the stats for Wolves versus City. I don't know if you've heard them, lads.
Nope.
3 shots for Wolves, 23 for Man City.
So they weren't clinical.
1 on target for Wolves, even though they scored 2 because one of them was an own goal. 8 on target for City, and a 70% possession for Man City. That is, like, it just shows, like, even though they lost, it really wasn't an off.
It wasn't.
It's always going to be like that, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It just wasn't their day. That's the way to say it. How are you going to have 8 shots on target? And what?
I think XG is a very, very important stat. So I think that Man City fans should be pretty happy with that, as am I as a Chelsea fan. So.
Well, I mean, looking at their team, it was pretty much most of their first string players. Although
they didn't have Rodri.
They did have Rodri, which is a big loss, isn't it? I mean, De Bruyne's out. That Doku lad who's come in looks really exciting on the wing, on the left wing.
Yeah.
Phil Foden has started, but again, we've been wondering, like, these are the games for Phil Foden to be that main man, and whenever he has a game like this, you know, Pep's always like. he's grading Foden week to week, I think, and I'm not putting too much pressure on him because the stats and goals and assists are fantastic still, but and a quiet game for Haaland. So yeah, when the match winners don't turn up, every manager struggles. But I feel like Pep relies on them less through the system he has built, and that's I think the same for Klopp. You know, Eddie Howe and now Ange as well. And that's where going back to Man United, that's where a lot of my criticism comes for Ten Hag is I don't say you've made a system that'll grind a team down and force a win without your match winner scoring goals. We got Townsend and Redknapp talking. That
horrible panel. This panel is horrible. It stinks.
I'll tell you what, we were speaking about Tottenham comebacks. That Townsend hairline has got to be the best comeback I have ever seen in Premier League history.
Yeah, that's that Istanbul special.
Should we do a few predictions? Should we do our round table before the game starts? We've obviously got a few minutes left. Joey, what do you think the result will be today?
I do think Liverpool win it, yeah. I think Liverpool 2-1.
Okay.
I'm going to go 2-1 Spurs.
Ooh.
I think Spurs, Liverpool concede a lot of early goals, and I think if Spurs get on top of them quickly, as you're saying, Craig, get a goal first, I think they could hold on.
Yeah, the Liverpool do. I remember Newcastle were all over them early on, and it was late on where that's the real worry with Liverpool.
They can bring players on. They can bring on like 7 more strikers. This nuts.
Yeah.
I said it last week, but I'm going to go 2-2 again.
Another draw.
Another draw, I know.
So you're not scoring first then, is basically what you're saying? Because you don't think, otherwise you can...
I don't know who's going to score first. I want to score first, but I just feel like it's going to be a draw. And I think 1-1 is, there's more goals in it between these two sides, so 2-2.
I'm also going to go for a draw. I'm going to go for a 1-1, a closer result, I think, on this one.
I'm kind of supporting Spurs here. Because Liverpool have really left a bitter taste after that last minute. I've never, ever forgot that. So I'm going to say 2-1 to Spurs. We're going to put my bet on this week?
Yeah, we are. Yeah. So I think we've obviously got our amazing partners, Fair Play. Thank you so much for sponsoring the show. They are a betting app that allows us to bet on anything that we want. So today we've put a little punt on against each other, haven't we? What is your punt?
I've gone 3 goals or more. And you've gone less than that, right?
I reckon, yeah. I don't think there will be that many goals. I think that it's too easy to say that there are going to be loads of goals.
Too easy, he says.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Like, I just think like both of the attacks are very potent, but I just think it's a very important game for both of them. And I think they are going to they could just play for a draw and stay out.
I think they're both open teams, and there's going to be quite a few goals. So I think it'll be clear. I think it'll be more likely to be 4 goals.
Yeah, nice.
Even. So hopefully we get what I want because I want to see a good game. And we put 20 quid on that, right?
Yeah, we have.
All right.
Big money.
Shout out to Fair Play. Don't forget, you guys can get playing on there with your mate. It's the one to settle all the WhatsApp debates. The link for that is in the description below. Fair Play. It's a great app, and they don't take any money out of your bets with the lads. It's all for you to keep. And when you sign up with us using the code TKO, you get a free £5 bet. So get on that with your mates and support the people who support your favourite football show. Appreciate it. We've got the lineups now. What are we thinking? Anything interesting, Craig, with the Spurs lineup, mate?
No, it's pretty much the lineup we've been playing all season. I think the only standout is Richarlison's going to be up top, not Son in this game. Son's gone back to being wide, Richarlison up top. That's an interesting decision. I'm not sure why he's made it. Maybe he thinks, and this could be a reach, former Everton player, loves playing against Liverpool.
The lad you played
there.
The lad you started last week didn't quite happen for him, didn't it? Not
Johnson.
Brennan Johnson. Nah, it was a baptism of fire for him. A debut away against Arsenal is not easy, and he didn't track back a few times. It left Udogie a bit exposed, but I like Brennan Johnson. I think we overpaid for him, if I'm honest. Though 47 million was a lot for him, but good young player. He might come on and make an impact, but yeah, Richarlison up top, maybe he can...
Mate, one of the hardest things about this game is that fucking Liverpool goalkeeper. Oh,
it's unreal.
He's
Alisson.
a nightmare.
Yeah,
mate.
I know.
He's probably... You could argue he's the best goalkeeper in Premier League history.
I was going to say...
In history?
Yeah.
I think he might be the best offset.
Better than Petr Cech?
For me...
He can do everything.
He's right
he can do everything.
Schmeichel, Cech, come on.
Kirkland.
I'd definitely put him above Schmeichel.
Cech's definitely up there.
Yeah.
Cech's up there. Some of the records they broke when he was in their defence was mad. But I'm not mad at it. He's a very good keeper, Alisson.
I think it's a tough one because the team he's been in have been battling against Man City for so many years. But I think he is allowed for this Liverpool defence that can be gotten at times.
Yeah.
He was one of the most important players that they've had in Klopp's era for me. He's been so good.
Joe Gomez resurgence as well at right back since Trent's been injured. That's been an interesting one.
tucking
A
in
lot of
as
people,
well.
a lot of people wrote him off.
Yeah.
Thought he was done at Liverpool, but he's been there for a few seasons.
Are you surprised that Maddison is playing in this game, considering he looked like he had like a pretty bad knock on his knee?
Yeah, his knee
Like,
went, didn't
yeah,
it?
it did. It
Couple
didn't look good.
injections is good
Yeah,
to go,
so
man.
do you
We
think
need him.
do you think he's playing on like 60-70%, or do you think he is ready to go? It
I
didn't
don't
look good.
think I don't think he's fully fit, but I think he's fit enough to play. I don't think they would risk him if it was really bad. But for me, like I said, Richarlison's so interesting because we've been playing well without him with Son through the middle. Son's been scoring loads of goals. And I feel like this is a massive game for him. For the manager to go, all right, you know what? This is Liverpool at home. I'm going to stick you up top. You're starting. You've got to go out there and show now why you should lead that line.
It's a massive call, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a
really
massive
big call.
Because when I've been watching him this season, he hasn't been great.
Could he be playing wide? Like, could Richarlison be on?
I was about to say
yeah.
that because I actually think Son's better through the middle now. I
might be playing wide.
I think Son's really good, but I don't think he's got the legs to play out wide anymore.
Do you think they're going to interchange?
I think so.
We'll see.
I think it will start with Son on the wing and Richarlison up front.
Yeah.
I honestly do think it will start that way, and then maybe they'll change it. But let's have a look.
We'll see. Van Dijk's always...
Trent's on the bench.
Yep.
Did he get a knock or something?
He's coming
He's
back.
been
from
injured,
injury,
yeah.
isn't he?
Coming back, yeah.
He's on the bench.
So Gomez will be playing right back, which obviously makes... well, the fullbacks are going to be really important then if they're going to see Son and Richarlison interchanging. Son leading the captain.
Go on, Sonny. Give that team talk. Remember that time Louis shouted at you in the documentary? He's come a long way.
I must admit, though, if Liverpool go top of the league after today... That'd be quite shocking, considering the way I was feeling about them at the start of the season.
Yeah,
I was like,
I was the same.
that midfield.
I thought they'd be behind a few teams this year. I didn't think that midfield would work, and I've got to be honest with you. I really like him. I still got a question about McAllister playing as number 6. I still don't think he looks like a holding midfielder.
And they've got Jones and Slobozai next to him. Slobozai is one of the best players in the Premier League so far this season.
He's come in and hit the ground running straight
That's
away.
that's the transfer that you want in it, where he's just ready and fucking locked and loaded. Newcastle were actually in for him, and they got him before, and I was gutted.
We had a chat, didn't we, about body language before, and people were saying, Tonali, you know, he's not going to like the weather and all this sort of stuff. I don't necessarily buy into the body language thing. I know a lot of people that look moody but are happy and whatever, but one thing is, body language wise, in terms of you see the way he carries himself on the pitch, Szoboszlai looks like one that's straight away ready, like we were saying before, for the here and now, ready to come in and be up for the fight. And I think Jurgen Klopp deserves massive plaudits on the way that he's been able to completely revamp that midfield. Let's not beat around the bush. He had a bit of money to do it, and he had the resources to do it, which he won't ever admit to. But regardless of that, we know that money doesn't always buy success in the short term. So I think the way that he's revamped that midfield, obviously, is something that is commendable.
Spurs,
Let's go.
Way in the midfield. Yeah, they've tackled.
Son is through the middle, yeah.
Liverpool,
through the middle,
and I've
yeah.
got to say, the way Spurs carry the ball at the back is so confident, and they're so composed. Like,
He's just letting
Mo
waste you
Salah.
like that. Was that Salah?
That was
That was Salah.
Was it?
He's offside.
That's it.
He's offside. Yeah, we play much better football now.
yeah, you guys look like a different beast altogether, and that's kind of Big Ange is the perfect argument against Ten Hag of all of the time and all of the money and all of the players he's had, and Big Ange has not spent like a great deal compared to a lot of managers, and yet he's using some of the same old players and using them in a completely different way, and it's working.
Yeah.
Ironically, Ten Hag could have found himself in that dugout as well. Do you remember he was interviewed for the Spurs job? Got turned down, lack of personality.
I must admit, I understand why. The guy isn't Mr. Personality, and I think that might. I mean, we're going back to them, but I think it's partly why he falls out with footballers. Is he doesn't have that warm, caring, like Big Ange is like the girlfriend's dad you want to impress sort of thing. He comes across as like friendly, nice,
big cuddly uncle.
Yeah. He's just a lovely bloke.
I like him,
and that is important in a manager. Like, I think because of certain managers having that sort of professor-like appearance and demeanour, it gets them more respect.
And
but like
in modern day football, you know, you've got to be a man manager, haven't you?
Yeah.
And you look at the way that Big Ange, if
Conte.
something,
Look at the way
if
it's gone
something
for
was
him.
to go wrong with a player or whatever, you would very much imagine he's the one to be able to give you a little shoulder rub and get you
Mate.
back on
This
side.
is a test.
Mo Salah inside.
Finish.
Good challenge.
Whereas,
Very good challenge.
again, we don't know from the outside looking in. Like, we really don't know what people are like behind closed doors. But you just from watching interviews and press conferences, you could imagine going to Ange with a problem, even a personal thing, and he'd have a chat with you, you'd have a coffee. Ten Hag, it'd be like, mate, I don't want to have
No, he
that
doesn't come
conversation.
across
It's
that
not
way,
even
though.
It's
welcoming.
cold. It's
to-
cold.
Didn't he?
Yeah.
Mate, here's a shout.
And
Big
maybe
Ange-
20 years ago, that might have worked. But
Big Ange for England.
I wouldn't be surprised if that.
I'd
one.
love that. I mean, look, I'm an Arsenal fan. I'm
Hey,
struggling because
listen,
I
he's our
like him
manager
too.
right
Yeah.
Yeah, why would he take it? Why would he take it?
Yeah,
now?
he's our manager right
Yeah.
now. Whoa,
Yeah,
whoa.
Yeah.
What's the ceiling at Spurs though? Like, what can he achieve? And this isn't me being an Arsenal
No,
fan
no,
on the
I-
wind up. Like, genuinely,
I don't know.
What is the ceiling at Spurs?
Well,
When you're talking about a league that's got a Newcastle team that are playing well, loads of money, you've got obviously Arsenal, Liverpool, City, blah blah blah. What is? How high can he go with Spurs?
Well, I can answer that, but then also, what's the ceiling at England? It's just as low as Spurs. When was the last time they won a trophy?
We got to a final. I mean,
When was the last time they won a trophy?
It's a bit like Spurs then.
That's what I said a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
Remember I
they
said we
got
need
to
to
the
change
final.
from Spursy. We got to start Englandy. I said this.
I think Pochettino is kind of shown what the ceiling of Spurs is. I think he
You got,
did as
you got
good
to
as
a Champions
anyone.
League final.
Same as
Probably
England, I
could've
guess.
But
isn't it?
England, that's what I'm saying. England, we ain't won a trophy for 50 odd years. So
Yeah. Liverpool are really starting quite quickly here by the
are.
looks of it.
They
A
are.
lot of this game has started in the final third for them. But Spurs are digging their way out of it pretty well and passing it out.
push him over, man.
Richarlison.
Handbags.
Push him
Richarlison and
over.
Gomez getting into a beef there straight
Yeah.
away.
Just like when Sterling slapped him up.
One of the interesting results of the day, lads, Villa pumping Brighton. Did Brighton get a free ride because they play nice football and
Yes.
no one thought they'd be any good anyway?
Yes, they did. They did. I was annoyed. I was watching the game, and throughout the game, they weren't really criticising their defensive mistakes or anything. Then the game ended, and I just watched the pundits basically go, Brighton will be all right. But Villa, though, they were amazing. And I was like, huh? Like, you can praise the way Villa played and the amount of goals they scored, and equally give Brighton a bit of criticism. And I don't feel like that was happening just because of how well they've started the season.
when a narrative has been built, it's then very hard for people to want to individually go against that narrative. The narrative around Brighton is there for all to see, isn't it? They're the best run club in football. They get rid of players and whatever. And that's completely, it is true, all of it. But, they do have to come under a bit of criticism.
That's
Now,
why-
two losses on the bounce.
That's
from
why
that.
this is even poorer, because we've been building them up and giving them that praise, rightly so. To go and let 6 in against Villa, and Villa, I'm not saying Villa are a bad team. Villa are playing very well, and Unai Emery's got them very, very solidified. But 6 goals is, for any manager, any team, even if you're a smaller team, that's a hammering. That's almost, once 3-4 go in and then you let another 2 in, it's almost like down toolsing in that game, sort of scorelines.
Yeah, no disrespect to Villa, but no team in this league should be losing 6-1 to Villa and not getting some stick for it. So any manager in this league should be getting slaughtered for that, really.
I think that's the thing with De Zerbi. Like, as good as it can be under him, occasionally, like they will have those games. And if you look at their recent results, obviously they beat Newcastle and Man United back to back, and everyone was raving about them. Then they lose to Athens. Then they managed to beat Bournemouth, but then they lose to Chelsea in the cup. No one cares about the cup. That's not really. Is that really?
We do.
Is that a thing?
Chelsea fans certainly do. I'll tell you that for sure. We were celebrating outside Stamford Bridge for about 3 days after that game.
I love that about, because Chelsea and Man United won in the cup and the fans were like raving about it. Oh, fucking hell.
They get away
Liverpool
with
gone
that.
fucking crazy at the back. They're passing it out.
get away with that.
But yeah, they have lost 3 of their last 4 games. Like that is.
Win that.
They do concede as well. Like, I think a lot of the teams at the moment at the top are trying to solidify their defences, and against Brighton, they're open defensively. They're going to outscore you. That's their game plan, isn't it? And they can do that, but that's a risky strategy, isn't it?
It's hard when expectations start getting levelled on you. So say, for example, we spoke about this, Brian, with Newcastle, obviously. It was all well and good being the underdog. And then when all of a sudden there's expectations on you, you don't know how you're going to cope with it. And obviously we're seeing with Newcastle now, which obviously we get onto, they're having a bit of a resurgence. But with Brighton now, I do genuinely think that season in, season out, we all kept going, could this be the one where they slip off? They were levelling up. And I think now coming into this season, everyone's going, well, no, we actually know they're like an established European spot club. I'm not saying Champions League, but they're in and around there. But what I would say is the bigger picture, and we can't see it just yet, we'll have to let things play out. is Villa, much like you said, Villa have beat Brighton, but Newcastle beat Villa, but Brighton beat Newcastle, and Brighton beat Man United, but Man United will beat one of Villa or Newcastle or someone like that potentially this season. The league is so strong, and it doesn't even just come down to those teams I've just mentioned. We look at Palace getting a win today. Okay, it's Man United, they're out of form, but what I'm saying
Man
is the
United
league's
even
just...
beat them 3 days earlier.
That's what I'm saying, exactly. The league's so strong now.
Before the season starts, though, like Brighton are 3 points behind City. If you said that after 7 games, Brighton fans would rip your hand off. Surely.
Spurs.
They would take that.
Good chance.
Like, to be 3 points behind the dominant City, you'd be chuffed with that.
Every team has talent now. That's what's changed in the last maybe 5 or 6 years. Every team has exceptional talent. Now we're talking about Palace, yeah. Like Eze, I think Eze is unbelievable. He could have gone to City this summer.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't say
Anderson
that. You
great.
couldn't say that 6 years ago. You couldn't look at.
Is that not why Man United? When we keep talking about the Man United thing of how have they been found out and what's changed? The rest of the league actually started buying players now. So it ain't as easy as before outside of having Pep Guardiola. It is going to be harder to achieve any sort of dominance. And it ain't going to just be enough to have a bit more money. You have to spend it wisely. You have to have a man motivator. You have to have a good tactician. And that's why you're able to pinpoint Ten Hag as the problem. So, I mean, look, I don't want to be too harsh on Brighton because they are still performing above what they should be, given that they had a £16 million team out against Man United and still won.
Everyone spends money, though.
But also they've been ripped apart as well, haven't they? Brighton have been absolutely ripped apart. We don't talk about this that often. Like they've had McAllister gone, Caicedo gone. Like that was their engine room all last year, and
they also
they've
have
just got to
injuries as
rebuild,
well,
and they've got injuries,
as everyone does. But yeah.
They've got some good players though, Fatty.
But when you look at so this is what sums Brighton up perfectly. If you look at the top 10 right now, is goals for and goals against. So Brighton have scored more goals than anyone else in the top 10, but they've conceded more as well.
That's the way they play, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is just the way they play.
Lovely.
So good. Yeah, so
The
good to
Americans would
man.
watch this.
Yeah,
right? We could get.
The mad thing is now that it's kind of what you were saying earlier. Like teams are going to start setting up to park the bus against Brighton. Which is a mental sentence. Like, that is mad to say. But that's genuinely what people are going to say, though. That is mad that you're saying. Do you know what I mean? The team's going to go, Brighton are turning up next week. Jesus Christ, play another defensive midfielder. Do you know what I mean?
I'll tell you,
Pivot 5 at the back.
We're talking about sentences we don't think we never thought we'd be saying, right? Before the season, before the camera started rolling, I said to Brian, I said, good job Everton lost today, man. That's good for Chelsea.
It's mental, isn't it? Everton are threatening to break into that tough bottom 3 right now. Actually, Luton have broken out of it, which personally, I was thinking that the bottom 3 was kind of done and dusted a week ago. It looked like the 3 that came up would go down, but
That was a great ball.
Richarlison.
He gets his run.
Can
he
I
gets
just
his
say,
run
we
wrong.
play ball. Where's my headphones gone? We play ball.
genuinely.
You see that football leading up to
This
that?
guy's
Look
losing
at
his mind right now. There was a good run here from Richarlison on the left
what a
side.
pass.
Such a nice ball.
And he skims it across goal, and it's just waiting for someone to arrive at the back post, which doesn't happen. Really, that's 1-0 if the winger is switched on at the right on the right side.
Josh, you said about playing Maddison if he is only 70%. Our playing if he is 10%. Who have they really got necessarily that you could go, right, he can pull strings?
Do you know what?
I think you look
think-
like a completely different team without him.
That's
Yeah.
what I'll say, though.
100%.
That's my big question about Spurs this season. The one thing with Maddison, I think he's an amazing player. He gets injured a lot.
Yeah.
Leicester fans will tell you, he gets injured a lot. As soon as he comes out of that spot, who plays there?
Well, the only thing is we don't have a lot of games. When we're out of the League Cup, we're not in Europe.
That's the beauty of looking
All
so
we have
bad.
is the Premier League and a few FA Cup games, depending on how far we get in there. So hopefully, you know what I mean, we can wrap him up in cotton wool in between games. But I hear you though, if he gets injured, it's a problem.
Luis Diaz bolting down the right side here, the left side. Sorry.
Don't let him.
Lovely
Don't let him
turn.
skin both of you.
They've come back.
Basuma. He's a menace, that Luis Diaz, isn't he?
Yeah, he's
so
a good player.
good.
Seriously good player.
He's-
I think this is their best front 3. There's a lot of chat with Liverpool about who their best front 3 is. I think it's this.
Do
I
you?
think
It's still,
it's
but it's still,
today.
to me, it still doesn't match up to Firmino, Salah, and
Oh no,
Mane.
no! I don't think anyone in the league has got a front 3 that matches up to that right now.
Yeah.
So no Nunes. Even though he's been coming on getting goals.
Nah.
So you wouldn't start him.
He's so erratic. He's
I
such
like
an
it.
erratic footballer.
I like
I He's one of them where I think midfielders would tell you he's a bit of a nightmare to play with because you don't know what he's going to do. Do you know what I mean? You don't know whether he's going to hold it. You
But
don't know
then
whether he's gonna run
opposition
behind.
defenders will tell you he's a nightmare to come up against.
Yeah.
Whether he gets the numbers in the end.
It's just, you know,
Oh, this is a real chance for Liverpool, surely.
Great
Oh, it should be
save.
1-0.
Oh,
What a
double
save.
save.
great save.
He's a good keeper, Vicario. I like him.
I mean, we weren't sure about this guy, but
saved
he's
his head.
done all right.
he's
hasn't
been
he?
really good for Spurs. He's made Lloris look,
Do you
honestly,
know what?
Where is Lloris?
Is it just me? Liverpool had such a great chance here from Luis Diaz's run down.
acres of space.
There's so much time and space, and it was actually hit a little bit by McAllister into the path of who's the striker there? Sorry,
Gakpo.
Gakpo.
yeah.
Sorry. So he touches it a little too hard, and it gets out of his feet, and he sort of snatches at it. If that's a better ball in, we're talking 1-0 again here.
I know we're obviously watching. I wish I could hear what the atmosphere is like in here because I've been very critical of the home atmosphere at the Spurs Stadium since we've moved into this new stadium. And apparently, since Ange's come in, it's got better. But for these big games, we really need to generate the atmosphere and make it difficult. It's so important. And I can't hear what it's saying right now. But the way Liverpool are playing...
We were watching the Man United Spurs game. The cameras weren't rolling. Obviously, we could hear it, and that it sounded a good atmosphere.
Yeah,
Fair
a
then.
little bit. Tiny bit, yeah.
Yeah, I understand. Like, how could Spurs possibly have had a good atmosphere last season? Like,
Yeah.
What are you cheering for? You know, like even Newcastle, who have got quite famously a good atmosphere, under Steve Bruce, it was like a fucking mug.
Again, this comes into the level of expectation thing that I was saying, and there is a psychological element to it because I don't know about yourself, Craig, but no one around this table saw Spurs having a good season. Like before a ball was kicked, everyone thought you've lost your talisman and you're completely unproven.
I had them
Okay,
bottom
he's done
half.
it in
I had them bottom half.
exactly. I think I had them in 8th or something like that. No one saw it, and then you look.
It is early though. Like as we said before.
It is early, but the eye test. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I feel like if Man United were up there right now, but we'd seen the performances in the games that they had won, and this is sounding like I'm going back in on Man United, but we'd seen the performances in the game they had won where they had obviously scraped past Wolves, who have proven themselves to be a decent team, Nottingham Forest game and whatnot. But with the eye test, with Spurs, it's like even little things, right? We just saw, what's the fullback called? Destiny, is it? That slid in for the challenge there, and I give you a look. Even little things like that for me are like, you boys look bang up for it. And
We've
eye
had
test
rubbish.
speaks
We've had
well.
rubbish fullbacks as well. So to
For a
get a
long
good young
time.
fullback
Yeah.
is exciting. But yeah, it's a long season. I agree. Who knows how this is going to turn out? But this has exceeded our expectation, regardless how the team is playing. We just wanted good football as a base, and we have that now. So whatever happens after that, we'll just have to see.
In terms of the relegation battle as well, going back to that, Everton now on how many points have they got? 4. Luton have got 4. Bournemouth 3. Burnley 1. Sheffield United 1. Burnley and Sheffield United for me are done.
You didn't read out Chelsea.
Sorry, Chelsea are just above that.
Fine.
They've got 5 points.
I was thinking, right, he's talking relegation battle. I'll get a bit ready to go here.
Sheffield United are a mess. Like they're the one. If I was going to put my house on any of them, it would be Sheffield United. Burnley, I could imagine them getting a different manager in. And I think they're one. There's just so many bad teams in this league where I could see Burnley, if they do get rid of Kompany. By the way, I think Kompany does an incredible job in the Championship. I think it's just plain naive that he's trying to play that football in the Premier League with that squad. I think you get a different manager in. You don't know. They could still pull something out of the bag. I still think Everton are dreadful.
Luton, can I just say, Luton are overperforming. Luton,
they are.
I saw Luton at the Bridge. We beat them 3-0. Think how bad we've been, right? Luton, I've seen a few of their games, and people think they've got a draw and a win out of 6 games, 7 games, whatever it is. Luton are actually overperforming because Luton are very ill-equipped to be in this league right now. And even the matches they've lost. I mean, do you remember the game against West Ham early on at Kenilworth Road? I literally do look at Luton and I think, do you know what? You're actually doing all right. And I don't think Luton are finishing rock bottom this season.
I don't think they're finishing rock bottom. I think Sheffield United. The problem with that Luton team, and I love Luton as a club, by the way. It's the first stadium I've ever been to watch a football game. If you put Luton in the Championship this season, I don't think they get promoted. Like if you watch the Championship this season, I don't think they're even that.
Quality,
it's a quality league this season.
Yeah.
There's seriously good teams in there.
Yeah.
I still think there's enough bad teams in this league that a team like Burnley, if they were to swap managers now, I think there's hope for them.
Well, we watched them today against Newcastle, and they did look spirited. They weren't like not trying.
The right winger's good. What's his name?
Yeah,
He's
little
rapid,
bastard.
man.
Mate, he
He's
turned
really
Dan
good.
Burn broke his legs trying to track back again.
Do you know there's only once in Premier League history that the 3 promoted teams went back down, isn't there? And if you look at the last 20 odd years or whatever, there was the season, and I said this and I was actually wrong on this, there was the season that Norwich, Palace and West Brom came up. I think it was Norwich and Palace, didn't they? They went back down. Crazy stat about that. They went back down, Palace, with Andy Johnson scoring like 19 league goals. When have you ever remembered a relegated team to have someone that came second to Thierry Henry in the top goal scorers? But West Brom stayed up that season. I think it's very unlikely this season that the 3 promoted teams don't go back down, barring managerial changes, and we saw escapes last season that happened even before the end of the year, like Bournemouth. But what I would say is, if you are an Everton, if you are maybe a Bournemouth, maybe not a Nottingham Forest, they've started well, but if you're one of those teams around there, you must be thinking, thank God these lot are so piss poor in comparison to Premier League level this season.
Do you know a rogue shout for relegation, by the way? Sorry, but a rogue shout for relegation. I think Brentford. Brentford have started badly this year, and I think without David Raya, and if Tony doesn't come back and start scoring goals, that you look at their squad.
Well, Tony will be going in January.
They got a really good manager.
Surely he's going to go. They've got a really good manager. They have not got a really good squad. They have not got a really good squad.
Yeah, I think you're right there, because when Newcastle played them the other day, I didn't rate them very highly at all.
They're poor.
Yeah, they look right, and that's kind of what
Liverpool
in a great situation. Oh, gone wide. And Spurs are really throwing bodies on the line for everything. Yeah, you can't fault a single.
This is a great game. This is a great game.
It's end-to-end.
It was always going to be.
Might have been offside there. That's the only question. Going back to what we were saying about the relegation battle, quality-wise, I think all of them are lacking. And what the trick to know who's going to get out of it is to find the one with the goal scorer. In my opinion, I always look for that. And when we seen Burnley today, I was very calm, aside from the first 5 minutes where we had a little bit of a wobble there. Burnley do not look like they've got enough quality with Company as manager or whoever, I don't know. So I guess, for Brentford, if they do, they might want to keep Tony. Just get
the thing is, if they get 60, 70 million in January for Tony, which I think they will, I think someone will pay that sort of money. I mean, Chelsea.
I think he's worth it.
Yeah, I think he is worth it. But then they can reinvest. I think you can never call the relegation spots till January, because it always comes down to who buys a striker in January, who buys your goals in January, and who can get you through the rest of the season after that.
At this time last year, we were never looking at Leicester and thinking you're going down. Even I remember start of last season, people going, Leeds could do well this season, because in their first 4 games they'd had like 3 losses or something like that. So I'd very much agree with that. I think it's way too early to call, but I do think that if you're looking at it now, say no one sacks their manager and it keeps going the way it is, you've got to fancy the 4 promoted teams to go back down. And even when we were speaking about strength, right? You were saying you didn't think maybe Luton would get out of the Championship this year. I'm telling you what, last season Southampton finished rock bottom. They're not going down if they were in the Premier League this season. That Southampton team weren't even that bad that finished rock bottom last season. Done double over Chelsea. Who didn't?
Genuinely, I don't know how I'm going to say this, but I'm going to say it. If Chelsea continue the way they are, they'll get dragged into this.
Well, I've got good news for you. Not for you, but, Chelsea fans. I think we're about to go on a little run of form now.
Ooh, really?
Yeah.
You've got tough fixtures.
We have coming up, but there's a lot of emphasis put on those tough fixtures. But actually, if you look at the fixtures we've got, yes, they are tough. But at the end of the day, our best performance this season came against Liverpool. That's a team that have gone on to do really well since then. I think maybe when the team comes and it is a real, strong opposition, and also Pochettino is now having time to implement things ever so slightly. I was at the game the other night in the Cup, and we can say the Cup doesn't mean anything, but we went pretty strong in that. Bournemouth made sort of 4 changes, so did we from our starting lineup. We actually looked really good in that second half against Bournemouth, and I know people will...
You mean Brighton?
Brighton, sorry, yeah. All the same. It was so good. All the same to me.
It's the letter B and it's on the south coast. You've got to give it that.
You've got to give it that. Against.
Yeah.
So everyone knew what he meant.
Just when you're saying how good the game was, I've just pulled up the stats here. I hope you didn't mind. I took the liberty.
Yeah.
13 shots to your 9.
Yep.
So you were outshot.
Yep.
Possession, they had 61% possession to your 39. They outpassed you.
Mm-hmm.
Did you just nick a goal? I'll be honest.
Well, let's delve into that. Let's have a look at it, right?
I'm just wondering where the hope's coming from.
No, that's fine. That's fine. But let's have a look at the matches that we lost. I'm sure you could pull up
There's
the stats.
a lot of them,
I'm
isn't
sure you. Yeah.
Which one?
I'm sure you could pull up the stats, right? And it would be a complete flip of that. It would be us with the more shots, us with the more possession. What I would say is in that second half, I saw a lot more character that maybe when you look at the fact, okay, we've got a hard run, but we're about to play Fulham and we're about to play Burnley. They're two teams that obviously Fulham can't really score goals at the minute, albeit I do think they're a good side. And Burnley, we've seen them. They haven't got anyone that can score them goals. And also, we're not saying they're a great outfit under Vincent Kompany in this Premier League at the minute. I do think as a Chelsea fan, of course, there's plenty of matches we've gone into and lost already, but as a Chelsea fan, you've got to be looking at those games and you've got to be thinking, right, if we can get maximum points from them, which I don't think it's beyond the realms of possibility, of course we can get maximum points from those games. If we can, we go into that little hard run of fixtures with a lot more momentum than we would have done.
I will give you credit, by the way. I did look at some of the defeats right now while he was talking. You were the stronger team in terms of stats. In terms of what happened in the actual game, in terms of like what players performed well, for a start, Jackson scored. Is this what's going to give him...
Sorry, he scored two. He scored two goals.
Jackson
two
scored.
Great goals.
One goal was allowed.
2 goals.
Jackson scored.
They should have
he looked decent, but there was a sort of coming of age light bulb moment here, and I've been calling for this player to be included for a while. Cole Palmer. Right, Cole Palmer is a player that all of us sort of thought, yeah, good player. He must be good to be getting in City's team every now and again. But none of us really, I don't know. I can only speak for myself. I didn't really know what he was going to offer us and whatnot. And now I've seen him come off the bench a few times, and especially in seeing him start against Brighton, this is one of the things I'm drawing optimism from. And it's not me saying I'm hanging my hopes completely on this one player, but one of the problems we've had is obviously early on in pre-season, we looked good. We had Nkunku, he's gone down, he's out injured. Chukwuemeka was making, that role sort of his own in the early parts of this season. And I get we had a couple of losses, but even the match that he went off injured in, at the time he went off injured against West Ham, he had scored the goal and he was the player that was playing well for us in that 10 role. And then since then, we've been experimenting with Enzo Fernandez, which has been leaving holes behind there. Finally, Cole Palmer has come into that position, and the other match against Brighton, for what you want to rate it, for how significant you want to rate it, he looked like he was pulling strings. He was by far the best player on the pitch in that match. So is that me saying Chelsea are back? Yes. No, I'm joking. No, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is there's more room for optimism as a Chelsea fan now.
This could be a red card.
He's gone over the ball.
How is that not a red card?
We're going to VAR here. Sorry,
how is that not a red card?
There's a studs up challenge.
That's a leg breaker.
Malagusta got the ball first last week.
That's a straight red.
That's a red card.
Definitely.
That's a red card, man.
Of course it is.
And they're not going to give it because it's Liverpool.
No, they got to give that.
They'll stop it here, though. This is the thing that got Gusto last week. When they stopped the play, they stopped the video and they paused it like this, and it's an ankle, studs in ankle.
Yes, go to that screen.
He's gone. He's gone.
He knows he's gone.
Early buff.
Before anyone starts celebrating on the Spurs side, last time we seen a player sent off against Newcastle for Liverpool, they played better.
Yeah.
Because they were more defensively switched on. Because when they go
that
home,
time it was Van Dijk. This time it's Curtis Jones.
Yes.
If you're going to lose a player,
That's got to be a red card.
That's so bad, man. Like, what the fuck is that? He could have broke his leg.
He's not even aiming for the ball there, by the way. There's no way that's aiming for the ball. How can you miss a ball that badly?
You want to see me play football.
He's got
If there's consistency here, it has to be a red.
He's gone. He's
Get
gone.
off, man. You're done.
What?
Yellow?
No yellow.
No.
There you go.
Get off. That's it. Stole my haircut. Get off, man. See you later.
Stole my moustache.
I hear what you're saying, though, about them playing better with 10 men, but the only thing I'd say is I've been watching this game and they have been playing way better than us in this game.
Yeah.
Literally, they've been on top. So
you have to win this now.
Now we see what Spurs are about. You've got to go and win
this. This is the tough thing.
You've got to go and win this.
People are going to start saying this now. And this is going to be a thing that Spurs have to get ready for. Is people are going to start saying things like, you have to win at home against a 10-man Liverpool. And I'm not sure they're ready for that. They're
not. But you know what? Because it's his first season, no matter what happens in this season, he gets the free hit.
Yeah, well, you got to say for Jurgen Klopp, just question the discipline levels of his players. You need to rein them in a bit.
Does Klopp doesn't get a chance to get a view of that screen, does he? Because he looks absolutely fuming.
What's the aim?
I know, but surely, come on, we all saw that the first as soon as we see it.
He complains about everything.
So the interesting thing is, what does he do now? Because against Newcastle, he rode his luck a bit and played defensively, sent Núñez on late into the game and hit them on the counter. It worked brilliantly against us. You have options. I'd personally look at taking
Gravenberch
Gakpo off and just relying on Luis Diaz and Mo Salah to run, because you're going to need a midfield out there. You can't just rely on McAllister and Szoboszlai.
I think it'll be Diaz that comes off here because Gakpo can operate from wide out.
Well, fair enough.
I think when
Yeah,
you've got
yeah.
10 men, you have to be able to hit someone.
Yeah.
And I think you need Gakpo's size.
Yeah.
I think you need to hit something.
They're going to have to bring on a midfielder here. Who it is going to be the interesting one in terms
Yeah,
of
who
their
do they
bench.
bring?
Gravenberch, they got him on the bench.
Have they got Endo on the bench as well?
Yes, Endo is on the bench, bro.
Endo would be the
to be
obvious
fair, they've got a few players like Harvey Elliott there, Jota, and they've got Trent on the bench, I believe, but I'm assuming they're not wanting to rush him in.
I don't think he gets no.
So yeah, going back to Chelsea. Where were we? Sorry. The game against Brighton. You also played Mudryk.
Yep.
Mudryk's been one that you've been looking at going a little bit worried. It's not quite going quite the way we thought after 20 plus games. However, Joshua, and I quote, is bullish on Mudryk. What we
I'm
say?
ready for him. He's an elite player, I would say. I put him in that category.
So-
Elite,
elite?
at what?
Let's
Elite
get
at
real.
what?
Get real.
Elite at what?
Get real.
Crossbar challenge.
No,
Elite at
he's
crossbar
trying to
challenge.
take away from what he said, which is I am bullish on Mudryk.
I'm
and
very
I want
bullish.
the truth.
I'm very bullish, and what I want to see us do is actually play him starting consistently. He creates all of our best chances. You watch him week in, week out, and you go, he does the through balls, he makes the crosses into Jackson.
Yeah, but
we've missed so many chances.
All of your
Like,
best chances,
Conor
that's 3 chances.
Conor Gallagher had one against Bournemouth. It was a City, he should have scored. Jackson should have scored one the other day when Mudryk does a reverse ball
Jackson
through.
was the sitters all the time.
But this is what I mean. Like, this is the thing. When you watch Chelsea week in, week out, you see what Mudryk does for us. He is almost like he's got that X factor that we don't really have from another player. Like, I would say that Cole Palmer was the only one that was sort of up there in terms of our
Spurs in
options
behind?
right now.
Oh, sorry.
So, like, this is the thing. Everyone wants Mudryk to fail because it's funny and it's banter and he didn't go to Arsenal and, like, you see this star boy and you're happy to see him fail, right? But actually, he's going to come good, and that's what I'm waiting for, and I'm gonna remember this moment
Oh,
for when
gonna
you
love it.
questioned him. I hope we're clipping up. In fact, in the back, clip this moment up. Let's say Brian
Do you know what's funny?
Brian questioned him.
All I've said is you're bullish on him. I've not said he's shot.
No, but
Yeah,
you,
exactly.
yeah.
That's
No,
how
but
you
he
know
has.
he's shy. That's how you know he's shy.
But
I don't have to.
Jacob, he has said he's shy. So let's just say this. So yeah.
So when we
remember
say-
this moment.
to-
He's going to be
passionate
good.
about
To
this
play,
one, innit?
to play devil's advocate here from someone who would love nothing more than Mudryk to come good, does he finish this Premier League season with 10 goal involvements?
He doesn't.
Yes.
Involvements, just to be clear.
Yeah, goals and
Just-
assists.
no, because you know why this is important?
12.
You know,
12. That is bullish.
finish the season with 10 starts. What are you talking about?
Mate, he started. This is a very for everyone watching along. This is a very jealous Arsenal fan. He'd love to have him.
I'll be honest, and as a Spurs fan, because I hate both your clubs, if I had to choose Martinelli or Mudryk, I'm taking Martinelli all day long.
Martinelli got
I'm
15
taking
Premier League
Martinelli
goals last
all
Yeah,
day
of
long.
course, but Martinelli has
Even
had
when-
a
no,
lot
but even
more,
when
has
your
had
fans
a
were
lot
doing
more
that, though.
time
I know,
in a
but-
much more settled time to be able
Yeah,
to.
but Mudryk was playing Champions League football, wasn't he?
He's playing for Shakhtar,
Wow.
But he played Champions League football. Martinelli's never played Champions League football until this season.
couple of group games.
But even when your
Don't wanna
fans
bring
were
it.
talking about, we take Mudryk all day long, let's replace him, Martinelli. I was like, why?
Oh, mate, yeah.
I like Martinelli.
A lot of our fans drink. You got to remember that.
I've got a,
Yeah. No,
I've
but
got
I
a
would-
question though in the Mudryk thing. How much was he bought for again?
90.
what a surprise!
No, it wasn't 90. Was it?
60 odd. It was 60.
No.
It wasn't 90.
It weren't 90, bro. It was not 90.
It was not 90.
So
it was
on-
less than Havertz.
Get
Let's
the
just put it
receipts,
that way.
please.
Yeah.
Find the receipts.
Okay, well,
Spurs, what
Do
are you
you
doing?
know what I think about Mudryk, and this is the sort of hard part with it. I am undecided on it, so I'm not quite bullish, as you'd say, Josh. But the only thing is sometimes I watch him, and I would agree with you. He has been involved in key moments a lot this season. However, when I watch him live, sometimes I'm like, are you really good, or are you really quick? One of the two. I don't know whether you're just really quick and whether I'm impressed
Mate.
by the speed running through. One thing I would say.
You don't mean that, Joey.
No.
You don't mean that.
No, but mate, I'm
You
not,
honestly don't.
No. I am not
you know
saying
why I
that I
think
don't
it's-
think he'll come good. I'm just saying at this point, I am nowhere near as high
You're
on the
on the
bullish
fence.
meter as you are.
are you on the fence?
Yeah, I'd say I'm on the fence.
Okay,
yeah.
so the reason I find this interesting is because they were bought around a similar time. Anthony Gordon and Mudryk were bought at a very similar time. One was bought for Newcastle, half the price of Mudryk. And you look at this season, and a bit like what we were saying earlier, second season, you're expected to start improving at some point. Now, I'm not saying Mudryk isn't getting better, but when we're looking at the numbers, which is what it's about that far up the pitch, what we got. How many goal involvements have we got?
Two.
So Mudryk has got 2 goal
Two.
involvements.
2 assists.
From where? Sorry, from
Last season, I think.
but this season, none. 0.
This season, none.
No, we've only
He's
scored
only
about 2 goals this
He's
season.
only started 4 games.
So he's
You missed the point there. Anthony Gordon was nearly bought instead of Mudryk as well. Remember?
That's actually, well, you might have fucked up a little bit. I'm just saying because you've got 6 appearances so far, I think, this season from Mudryk.
Yeah.
And I think it's 0 goals and assists.
Can I give a point that it's going to be hard to agree with, and you'll say, well, no, these are the players you bring in. To go on.
Just because similar appearances from Gordon. He's got 5 goals and assists this season.
Yep.
Now, what we're seeing from him is everyone going, this is what you bought. This is the progress. So why is it that Mudryk hasn't got any?
So let me just say, right, Chelsea can't find the back of the net for love nor money. You've had a game where you've scored 5 goals. You've had a game where you've scored 8 goals. And I'm not saying that Anthony Gordon was directly involved in all those goals, but what I am saying is I could draw a definitive conclusion. This is coming from someone who said it, sitting on the fence. I could draw a definitive conclusion on this if Chelsea were playing well. I'm not saying winning leagues. I'm just saying playing well, getting wins. And I wasn't seeing it from him. And you could read me them stats and I'm going, well, everyone else is doing a bit and you're not really doing anything. So I understand that when you bring a player in for that amount of money, you're going, well, yeah, you're bought in to be the difference maker. And clearly, he's not got the ability and the personality at this moment in time.
They've won it again! It's Liverpool!
What a
fucking
finish.
Diaz is fucking offside.
Considerably offside.
No way! They really frightened me there. Like,
Yeah,
they are dangerous, aren't they? These motherfuckers. On the counter attack here, that is onside.
Is he onside?
That
I
is
think he's
onside.
on, man.
Mo Salah has played it
he's
through to
onside.
Luis
He's on.
Diaz,
He's onside.
and
He's
he's
onside.
buried it from the corner
He's
in a
onside.
That
really
is such a
difficult.
difficult finish. That is
He's
such a
onside.
hard
Mate,
finish.
that for me is onside.
He's onside.
onside.
He is onside.
Draw the lines.
He's onside.
That looks onside.
Draw
We've
those
conceded
lines.
first
That is
again.
onside,
This is
yeah.
what
Mate,
I'm
Liverpool
saying,
are
man.
disgusting.
Wait, what?
What?
What did we just see? Can anyone explain that?
Wait. What the
man?
fuck just happened?
Liverpool fans will be going mental at that. That really
Didn't this
looked
happen last
onside
week?
to me.
Didn't this happen
What
last
just
week? But they
happened?
didn't do the lines or something.
What just
Or
happened?
they
Wait,
gave
what
one
just
more
happened?
back.
You just got away with
I'm
it.
so
Yeah.
confused. I'm
Is
so
that
confused.
a case of the
No,
ref
but maybe
just
we
not-
ain't heard anything. Like, because remember, we're not
We
hearing
didn't
the
see the lights draw, but when we, by the eye, we all looked at that and went,
He's onside.
yeah, onside.
Saudi Arabia, pleased by VAR. What the fuck is going
So
on?
maybe Salah was offside in the first action. I don't know.
We need some help
why
here.
don't we
Chat,
know?
let us know why was he not offside there, please do. What is going on here? I don't understand that.
I don't know if
That's
his
mad.
arse was
Yeah.
hanging out or what the fuck went on.
I'm
because
really annoyed.
By the foot, his foot was behind the foot of the defender when he started his run.
That ref had the look of a man who knows
Yeah,
he's made
yeah,
a house.
No, but it's not to do with him. It's to do with whoever's in VAR. They're the ones that were supposed to be looking at it.
His face is going to be a meme tomorrow, and he knows it.
Yeah, so I get the point that you're making. Like, if Mudryk was playing for Newcastle, he would have had goals and assists. That's a fair point.
I think.
No, I'm not even saying he would have done. I'm just saying we could have made a judgment then. And I think
Okay.
it's a bit hard to make the judgment if no one's doing that well. And I get it, there might come a time when no one ever did any well, and then you've got to make a judgment on him because it's getting towards the point where we're looking, okay, are we going to move him on? Are we going to keep him? Are we going to reassess where we value him? But at this moment in time, I think it would be harsh, even taking my Chelsea hat off, to go, you are not it, when no one really is it at the moment.
If he was playing in a team with Haaland, he would have had 3, 4, 5, 6.
Spurs in
goals
behind,
involved.
surely it's a
Let's go! Richarlison, we robbed you, Liverpool. You were onside and we went and scored. Robbery. I love that. I love a daylight robbery. I love it. I am shameless. 1-0. We needed to score first. I said that. Don't worry, Diaz, man. It all balances itself out in the season. There'll be a time where you rob someone. Isn't that how VAR works? That's what they say.
We've got to talk about
I
this
really
pass
hope he's
from
offside. I
Madison.
really hope he's offside.
This
Aye.
pass
Hey.
from Madison.
Well,
Great. He curved his
So
run.
beautiful.
Like a real Brazilian number 9.
We were saying, would Richarlison be in the 9 or would Son be wide? And so far, this match
Can
is
we have a
Genius Ange.
Son in for Golden Boot maybe again this season? He won it a couple seasons ago.
Could be.
He's going crazy as a central striker.
Yeah.
He is.
His ability to find space in the box is unbelievable.
It is.
Like,
The
it's
goal against
ridiculous.
Arsenal the other day, how, like-
3 centre-backs, I mean, I blame the centre-backs, but there's 3 centre-backs stood around him. It's the same there. He somehow gets to the
He's
ball
so
first.
pedal dexterous as well. Do you not know about that word?
We mentioned Gomez.
Pedal-dexterous.
Get a
we
dictionary app
mentioned
out.
Gomez
What's going
at
on?
right back,
Both feet.
and he was really caught out by that beautiful pass from Maddison there. Like
That's happened twice now.
He wasn't switched on.
That's happened twice.
Pedantic.
It's a real word. It's a real word. You think I'm making it up?
I know you're not making it up, but where the
Richarlison.
hell did you pull it out from?
Because one time I googled ambidextrous, but with the feet, and it was pedal dexterous.
Not really.
That's a
Is that what it means?
That's a
Yeah,
clip
it's
and a
both
half.
footed.
Oh, no.
That's a clip and a half,
Heung-min
lad.
Son is now entering club history right now. He's in the top 6 scorers for Spurs of all time.
He's the greatest Asian footballer to ever play the game. That includes Park Ji-sung. All of them. He's the greatest.
Spurs fans love him, don't they?
Oh, we love
I
him.
know Spurs fans that prefer him to Harry Kane.
Yeah, they're smoking crack. Say no to drugs. Drugs are not good. Talk to Frank.
I tell you what, though, he's really led the line since Harry Kane
he has.
left. You know, and that was kind of the reason why I thought they would drop so much after losing Kane was because also Son had an off season last season, so I thought, well, he's not going to get any better next season when he's getting older, and yet here he is turning up. But Liverpool are in behind.
Behind you.
Nah, fuck off.
Can I just say, someone in the chat has completely corrected me. It's not pedal dexterous. It's ambi-pedal.
Ambipedal.
What
It's ambi-pedal.
It's
and
got
the pedal
absolutely
dexterous.
done with pedal dexterous.
It's ambi-pedal.
I-
I was...
I actually knew it was that. I just didn't want to mug you off.
It's
okay,
when he
I was
was
thinking
like,
he means ambipedal.
he looks at me. He looks at me halfway into it. He goes, "No, not know about that word, did you? Neither did you."
Yeah, neither did I. Yeah,
We've got claims for a penalty here because Gomez has gone down in the box and they're replaying it. I don't know if it's it's not getting given that. It did look serious.
Spurs should go and smash them now. That makes a statement. I know they got
Whoa.
10 men. No, but if
Relax,
Spurs did,
this is Liverpool.
not saying they should, not saying they
This is
should
Liverpool.
as in whatever, but if they could,
They're going to score.
The
We've
thing-
won
the
one
thing I
against...
love-
Sorry, we've won one game in 18 against Liverpool.
23.
Wow.
1 in 23, innit?
Oh, I don't know. It popped up 1 in 18 on Sky at the
Well,
beginning.
the thing I love about it most
1 in
is
18 under Klopp.
this
1 in 23 in total.
this certifies Ange though. When you have a win over another top manager,
We ain't won yet.
no, but I'm
Yeah,
saying,
yeah. I was going to say
I'm
38 minutes.
theorising that if you carry on and do this, and it's still a fucking hard game with match winners like Mo Salah on the pitch, but if he does this, that really puts shine on Ange and certifies him to a degree. But the bonus of it for me, given
That's
the way
yellow card.
Jurgen Klopp goes on, is he will whinge so much about the penalty not given and the red card. The fact that there's even contention there is even better.
Yeah, I'll just blame Curtis Jones, to be honest. I don't even mind. I'd blame him because they were on top.
That's another dodgy
another-
tackle.
Call it out.
That's
What is
another
going
one.
on
Let's have a
here?
look at this from
McAllister.
Nah,
yellow.
Even if it was, though, I just think there's no way they're giving it.
Yeah.
Just because they're not going to send 2 of them off.
10 men. What, 9 men? That'd be beautiful.
Yeah.
That'd be beautiful.
Liverpool players got roid rage today.
Yeah, I
Dodgy
wonder.
inhalers.
Them bloody inhalers.
They're all juicing.
We've talked about them a few times, mate. I'll tell you, fucking. And with the running levels, they're going to need all the help they can get.
It's not
this
that.
game.
He had 27 eggs for breakfast.
There's a cross coming in.
They keep getting down that side behind Gomez.
They're
Every
targeting
single
him
time.
for sure. And after how good that run from Richarlison was in the past, I don't blame them. And Spurs, they're not, just like they said they wouldn't against Arsenal, they're not playing any different. They're pressing them,
Yes,
they're getting in
Romero.
amongst it. And there's another chance here for Son. He's got the pass to Richarlison. He's waiting for the run. Run. Good save by Alisson.
Horrible shot.
Spurs are really good, man. I was going to say it pains me to say it, but as a Chelsea fan, they are really, really good.
Jacob, do you agree?
No, I think they are.
Yeah, how do you feel, Jacob?
Yeah.
Is he on? Oh my God.
He can't say it.
No,
He can't say it.
Let's get to 90 minutes. They are good. They're much better than they were. They are much better than they were. I will say, a little bit lucky in the derby. Jorginho gifts them a goal. We like.
Did you see the stats after the game, or I don't know? We only went there and had more possession, more passes. I don't know.
I don't think on the run of play I would say they were lucky because we were sat here watching that game and towards the end, obviously first sort of 30 minutes or so, I'd say Arsenal were pretty dominant and they could have been a few behind. But after, when I was looking at the run of play towards the end, I was going, if either team's going to go on and win this, it's Spurs.
We both gifted each other opportunities.
Yeah, no,
you got
George-
gifted one with Maddison and Jesus. He fluffed it, and we got one for Jorginho and
Draws
took
a
it.
fair result. I think the big moments went Spurs' way. This is a huge result if you hold on to this, and I will say this game state really suits Spurs now because Liverpool have to come out. Liverpool have to try and score a goal now, and when they've only got 10 minutes, like if they'd have scored that Luis Diaz goal, I'd have put money on Liverpool to finish to see this result out.
With 10 men, the whole thing, not even us scoring.
Because I think this suits them. I think if they'd have gone 1-0 up, it completely suits them.
And then they just
can
sit back.
play on the break. But now they're in a lot of trouble, and I don't know how they control this game now.
I don't know, Klopp, if there's any man you want to do, I've seen him do it with 10 men under Klopp many times. He just gets them in at half time. If they can keep it 1-0 till half time, get them in, reshape it, reorganise it. It's like what you said, Brian. With Salah on the pitch, you've always got a chance.
Points won from losing positions.
And they're the most.
And Liverpool are the best in the league at that.
Is that not with 10 men, though?
Yeah.
We've got to have a look at this offside, though, at half time. I mean, that, I just don't understand it.
It's mad.
I just don't get it.
I'm not complaining.
The fact that an offside can be contentious in this day and age. Chance for Spurs. Big chance.
Shoot.
Hits it. Post from Richarlison.
Did Udogie take that away?
Yeah, someone was in the way of Richarlison's shot.
Did it have a touch on the ball?
Offside.
Yeah, it must have then. If
I'll
it's
tell you
offside.
what.
It's every time behind Gomez.
We
though.
need
They've
to go
got take
2-0
Gomez
in.
off.
We got to go 2-0 in at half time. That's what our aim needs to be.
I don't know what the fitness levels of Trent are, but he can't be any worse than Gomez right now. He's getting absolutely smashed.
He's not really heralded for his defending though, is he? Anyway,
Maybe Canate.
Yeah, but I mean,
coming back, isn't he?
what happened here?
He can't be worse than this.
He was in the way. Yeah. Why are you still in an offside position, bro? Sort it out. You know what one of the big problems for Spurs was in the first 20 minutes before the red card? They just couldn't get Maddison in the game. They just blocked off all the circulation that was going through to Maddison, and now it's opened it up for him.
I'll tell you what, though. We said about the fact that when Liverpool went down to 10 men against Newcastle, you were saying they were better. They were playing better. There's no denying. Since they've gone down to 10 men in this match, I know they've had the off chance here and there, but Spurs are pretty dominant,
You know
in my
why?
opinion.
Because in that game, Newcastle were going through a bit of an off period with the midfield. We were a bit flat energy-wise. Spurs are rampant.
Bang up for it.
The Spurs are playing this game with the same intensity that they played the Arsenal game with. They played previous games with. They're not showing any signs of relenting, and Liverpool's passing is being found out as quite sloppy here from the back, and Maddison is just controlling it.
It's a weird thing to say as an Arsenal fan. Spurs this year remind me of Arsenal last year. Do you know what I mean? It's like quite unexpected. They're playing really nice football, but the other thing as well, they're super up for every game. They start every game at 100 miles an hour. And the only thing I'd worry about if I was a Spurs fan is you've got to keep this up for a full season. I know you don't have multiple competitions, but they have not got a deep squad.
Yeah,
and like there's a couple of players in there. You lose Son, who scores the goals. You lose Maddison, who creates stuff.
Facts. Hopefully we get a bit lucky. It reminds me, remember that season Leicester won the league? I'm not saying we're going to win the league, but you know when that season Leicester won the league? They didn't have the biggest squad, but they managed to just keep all their players fit.
Yeah.
And I know this because Spurs was trying to challenge them for the title that season. Yeah. And Vardy didn't get injured, Mahrez, or none of them. They just went full tilt. And they didn't have Europe. Look at him trying to win a handball.
He's so clever like that, Salah.
He is. Oh, what?
He took him out there.
Richarlison didn't need to do that.
We're just going into half-time. I wanted to do a bit of a debate today based on Chelsea and Manchester United because we've been kind of having this off-camera anyway. Man United and Chelsea are very similar teams. They've spent a buttload of money. They both haven't seen the fruitions of that they expected. And now we're looking at who out of the two biggest spending clubs in Premier League history are going to come good first. I'm talking managerial appointments, talent. I'm talking even backroom a little bit, and where the club sits. What are we saying? Who's going to come good first? Who was going to win a major trophy first?
I think before I give my view on it, that's going to be probably quite Chelsea biased, we should hear from an outsider who they think's going to come first, because I'm obviously going to say Chelsea.
What do you reckon, Jacob?
It's so hard because I in terms of Chelsea, I think there are more players and more talent that are going to improve. I don't look at anyone in that United team who I think is going to get a lot better in the next few years. I think the United team, the best players are getting older. They're not looking like they're improving. The big question with Chelsea for me is the ownership structure and the manager. If Poch does get given time, is he a manager that can win titles? Because we've spoken about Ten Hag a lot. Ten Hag has won titles in Holland.
Poch has won titles in France, about the same.
But say that.
Yeah.
France is
About
France is a higher level.
It's about the same, and then when they've met
Steve
in a
McLaren
really...
won a Dutch league title.
Yeah, but then when Poch and Ten Hag have met in a really must-win game in a big clash in a Champions League semi-final, I know it's 1 match, 2 matches. Poch came out on top in that. I would say there where we speak about obviously the players as well. You know, the main thing that will be levelled at Chelsea at the minute, it will be our bad form because it's the first thing that comes to the forefront of your mind. It's easy to do so, but the main thing that will be levelled at Chelsea is but you've got these players on 8-year contracts. People don't often mention about the wage bill. Now, if you look at the wages of a lot of these players, it's going to be shocking. You're going to think, God, but actually, there's no difference. There is no difference, in my opinion, to having a Mykhailo Mudryk on an 8-year contract earning X and then having Mason Mount on a 5-year contract earning X, which is more than Mykhailo Mudryk's.
Our wage bill is 60% of what Man United is. Our wage bill is considerably less.
Exactly. We look at that wage bill. Let's have a look at the players that are on these long-term contracts and the age that they will be when they're towards the end of that. So let's say, for example...
Go on.
With a lot of these players that Man United have got on 5-year contracts or so, yeah. Okay, Mason Mount, he might be 28, 29 at the end of that 5-year contract, maybe 29. Casemiro's going to be 34. A lot of these players that we've got on these contracts aren't going to have sell-on value necessarily, right? You might get lucky, a Saudi Arabia, something like that. A lot of them won't have the sort of sell-on value that Chelsea's players will have, okay? Yeah. And then you're saying, okay, well, we're gambling then on Chelsea performing well to be able to give them that sell-on value, but it's the exact same for Man United. So what I'm saying is there's not a clear advantage when it comes to contract situations. If anything, you'd say that Man United are at a disadvantage there. Also,
I don't know, because the reason Man United's wage bill is higher is because they've got players who are recognised as established performers right now.
How's that going from?
Well, it's going better than Chelsea.
Better than Chelsea, but how's it going?
But still not amazing. But the point is if we're looking on the pitch at sure things, Man United have more of those, not many, but more, in Rashford, in Bruno Fernandes, for example. I can't name a Chelsea player right now who you'd put in that bracket as
who's world class,
who's certified match winning.
Enzo Fernandez is probably the only one I would say I could argue and give a compelling argument.
I don't think Enzo's there yet. Based on what I've seen, I think when he was bought, I understood it in terms of the World Cup performance. But from what I've seen in a Chelsea shirt, if you look at the stats of matches won and all of that, and just him in front of goal, he's not that kind of player. Yep. He's a player who performs well in a good team rather than being a leader of that team.
Is he as good as Bruno?
Guimaraes? I would say... From what I've seen, Bruno Guimaraes would be rated higher in world football.
They're in Gakpo.
Spin.
Oh, they've done it! Fucking Gakpo.
4 minutes into added time.
Goal.
He's gone down injured straight away, but they've scored. Liverpool are back in the game.
I'm absolutely shocked there. Like, Spurs should be kicking themselves.
We didn't expect that. It wasn't the run of play wasn't towards Liverpool.
Spurs have been dominant, obviously, as you'd expect, down to 10 men. I've got to give major credit. Liverpool's never say die attitude. As much as Klopp pisses me off, you have to respect they do not quit. Now, like last season, they didn't look like this. Something's happened. Klopp has got them fighting for every single kick of the ball here. And this was just a simple cross into the box that isn't dealt with. It's headed back in, and he gets time to turn and spin.
What is this?
It's not good enough defensively from Spurs, is it?
What is that? It's
too much space.
That's been too complacent.
Mate, there's been 3 bounces inside your box.
They're thinking we've got an extra player. We're 1-0 up. The half-time whistle's about to go. And you're taking your foot off the gas. And it's like, this can happen.
There's no way
down the middle of the
3
goal.
bounces in your box should ever happen.
There's so much space in that book, but I don't understand how they win that header at the back stick. I don't understand.
Not even challenged as well.
I'm being
completely unchallenged.
It's Virgil van Dijk, and you're not even getting a man near it.
I'm being dead serious. If they don't come out after the break and really put these lot to the sword, I'm going to be fuming. Like, Ange really needs to dig into them and say, you can't miss this opportunity. They've got 10 men. You're at home, and you can go, third or second potentially if you win? No, second. You could go second if you win this game. They need to go out in the second half and get the job done.
You know, the tricky thing about it is you look at the subs bench for Liverpool, the potency of Nunes. They've got quite a few players who can come
We've
on.
got an extra man and we're at home and we've been playing good football. Like, they should be getting the job done.
This is what will test Ange, though, as a coach, when the pressure's on. Because Eddie Howe really struggled at this point against Liverpool.
But where was you? Home or away?
We were at home. And it was emotional, man, because Liverpool
I
on
just
that
think-
counter are deadly.
I just think players like there's some player like Richarlison. I know he got the assist, but I just don't think he just doesn't impress me. He doesn't offer enough to the game, off the ball, on the ball.
If Liverpool somehow dig out a win out of this game with 10 men again, I'm going to look at them as potential title challengers.
Look at this.
But
Look at this.
These motherfuckers.
This is where you got to make all your right decisions.
Mo Salah.
Just a bit of composure. Win the ball. That's it, sir.
You should have a
Oh
second goal.
no! This is what I'm saying. That was a simple. You've got an extra man. You win the ball, keep the ball, and play a simple pass. And then what do? Just play it into the open area. Liverpool have the ball again.
We're there now at half time. So, yeah, going back to answer your question, mate, I think Bruno Guimaraes right now is a better player than Enzo. That's. But he's older. He's a bit more seasoned.
Not much older, I don't think.
A little bit older, yeah, a couple of years older, I think. But that doesn't mean anything in terms of, like, I rate Enzo. I just think Chelsea, we're sitting there looking at a lot of players who Chelsea are hoping come good, and there's no, other than what we've seen so far, we can't guarantee.
How long?
I can't believe what
how
I'm
This
long?
is mad.
They're
I know. I
all
can't
over
believe
it.
what I'm
Liverpool
seeing.
have just had a cross in just where we were trying to cover.
Way before that even happened, I could see something happening because they're not even closing down.
Yeah.
The problem is when you play this Liverpool team, when you have your hot patches, even when it's 11 against 11, you have to score. You have to put 2 goals past them
What
because you
a
know
pass.
they're going to come
But
back.
I'm talking more right now without the ball. It's like we're just waiting
falling
for the
asleep?
referee. We're waiting for the referee to blow the whistle.
Mo Salah.
Play until the whistle.
It looks like you have 10 men. It looks like Spurs have 10 men, right? It does, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It
the
does.
last-
So right,
The last
Mo
5
Salah
minutes, yeah.
has just threaded that ball through to the back post, and Luis Diaz gets a toe on it and puts it wide. That's another opportunity where you're like we're not including the goal that was disallowed for an offside that probably shouldn't have been. Like, as much as Spurs have had their chances at 10 men, with Liverpool being down to 10 men, Liverpool have had chances where it could be 3-1 to them.
But this is what I was saying about Spurs a minute ago. That, like, moments have gone their way and they've got good results. To really be consistent in this league and to be a title challenger, you have to be creating enough big chances and taking those chances that it doesn't matter about moments. You're not relying on a good decision on VAR or a penalty call or whatever. They have to start scoring more goals. And that's it's always going to be the concern when you lose Harry Kane in the summer. And in that period where they were on top, around the half-hour mark, they should have got a second goal.
Yeah,
They should have got a second
so
goal.
true.
I think you could argue though that Liverpool could have been 1-0 up and they could be in like domination land right now.
What,
Like,
Liverpool?
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
like, they should be right up there.
Mate,
I haven't
what-
been impressed with Spurs today. I'll be honest. I haven't been impressed
Has
with
Alisson
Spurs
made a save
today.
Has Alisson made a good save in this game? There was that one where Richarlison sort of fluffed it at his near post, but has he actually made a good save?
Not really.
They've
no.
been quite expected saves for his standard.
We
Yeah,
haven't
it's
been
not
good
like it's
today.
been
He's not been
hard.
tested.
The play from Spurs has been good, but
Yeah, we've had
I
our
can't
moments,
believe
but
this.
we haven't been good. I've been watching the game like a lot, and we haven't been good today. And that's what I'm saying. The second half, he needs to get into this team at half time and say, do you know what opportunity you have here? We've won 1 in 23 games against Liverpool. They have 10 men. We're at home. We can go second. Go and get the job done. Just get it done. Like, I don't know what all of this fucking about is
mate,
going on here.
I'm having flashbacks
I
to
don't mind.
Newcastle
No,
around the
but,
city.
no, but Joe is. I
earlier this
don't
year.
mind. I don't mind if Liverpool are playing amazing or they're playing at their best, and they're playing very well for having 10 men at the moment. But we're not playing at our best. If you go out there and play your best, you should be able to get the job done against this 10-men team.
That's so true.
It's just. It's
But
jarring.
this is the thing. The common denominator is Liverpool. Earlier this season against Newcastle, I was saying the same thing. If we play our best, this game's over. We didn't. They did. Like, they played out of their skin, and they've been playing out of their skin every single game. And it's like, at some point, you have to look and go, these aren't messing around here. They're here, whether we can acknowledge it yet or not, is serious. They're trying to make a title challenge. They're not thinking, let's get top 4. They're fighting for a title.
Oh yeah,
you can see that.
but they've got the best front line in the league.
Yeah.
They, like, in terms of the 5-6 options they've got in that front line, they're ahead of City.
But
they are
earlier
ahead
this
of
season,
City.
we were all looking at their midfield going, nah. We were looking at their defence saying, it's gettable. So logically, you're like, you ain't challenging for a title. They don't know that. They're not playing like that. They're playing like, we're fucking going for it. And with Europa League rather than Champions League, that might take a little bit of pressure off them as well.
And barring the squad barring the midfield in that squad have sort of been there and done it, and they've mounted title challenges and won a title, won Champions Leagues. So obviously, in the sort of situation they're in at the minute. I get that they're bedding in a new midfield, and for the most part, it looks like bedding in that new midfield is going really well for them. But there's so many senior figures in that squad who are going, okay, say in the defence, the players in front of me might be brand new, but we've been there and done it, and them lot up top have been there and done it. And not only that, the most important part, the manager's been there and done it. So realistically, he's probably looking at the likes of Arteta and thinking, people think it's between Pep and Arteta now. I'm still here, mate. I'm still here, and I've still got the players and the capabilities to mount a title challenge here. So I said to you, didn't I, before a ball was kicked, I said that I thought Liverpool would be their closest challengers.
Honestly, I feel terrible, actually. Before the season, I was not rating Liverpool at all. I thought they'd be 5th, 6th. Like, I didn't think they'd be up there. I thought the midfield would be really poor. I wasn't sure about the defence. I thought they'd concede a load of goals. And do you know what? Like, they've proved a lot of us wrong. They are right up. They are title challengers this year, Liverpool are.
Craig, you've just seen the offside.
Yeah.
Is it offside or not?
According to this picture, he's onside.
So this is what we need to...
Am I reading that wrong? I don't know. Is he offside or onside?
Right, I'm going to give the impartial guide here. The foot of the defender, who I believe is... Who is that there?
Vanderven.
Yeah.
Vanderven.
Yeah. So his foot is considerably further back. So yeah, it looks considerably onside.
So what is that about?
it wasn't
Because they
just
brought
us.
up the VAR. No, but they on the screen they brought up the VAR.
It can't be that. That can't be the reason why he's onside. Because if it is, then there's a
do you
travesty.
think Salah was offside in the first phase of play and then...
We need
I've got
to
a rule
see
of thumb here. Is that picture from Twitter?
Yeah.
Probably true. Probably true. I don't think people lie on Twitter. I mean, if it's on Twitter, it's
the
pretty true.
lines
Yeah,
are
but
there.
we
going.
saw it.
No, I genuinely do think it was onside.
Yeah.
Going back to this Man United Chelsea thing, which is quite interesting because both teams have pumped all that money in. Craig, have you got any opinion on who is more likely to come good first in terms of winning a major trophy?
Between Chelsea and...
Man United. Because they're such projects and they are both pumping money in.
I think I'm going to go Man United and only pure... Ten Hag, I rate Pochettino way more than Ten Hag. I actually do. And I know Ten Hag's won things, Pochettino's won league, oh, cool. I just think he's already got the basis of winning a trophy. And once you get that off your back, it then becomes easier. When you're searching for that first one, like Poch is searching for that first trophy in English football, period. He still hasn't won a trophy here.
And he looked a mile off of it.
Yeah, Ten Hag, 1, he's got that off his back. 2, he's got a lot more players in his team that are used to winning silverware. Casemiro, Eriksen, Mount. You know, a lot of that Chelsea team that's come in now, a lot of them are just new young players now. How much of them have actually won trophies?
Can I sound a bit doom and gloom here?
Go on.
From a Chelsea and Man United perspective, we're ignoring a very distinct possibility, aren't we? You're saying what one comes good first?
Yeah,
They might both not come good.
Maybe both.
That-
when
that-
you were
that
saying
was-
it, when you were saying it like that, that's when my mind was going to. I was thinking, oh yeah, it could just neither do. But
That was my
one
honest
thing I would also say is, you know, we look at the infrastructure of the club. Okay, I don't think you can say just yet. I know there's fans like myself that have been vocal with things they're unhappy about with Chelsea's ownership, yeah? But it could flip and we could start winning and it could flip. We know because we've seen protests from the early 2000s against the Glazers. That is not flipping. We also know that as much as we speak about this Qatari takeover and whatnot, nothing's concrete until it happens, mate. And you do not know that they're not just trying to ramp the price up or see how much they can get for the club and whatnot. Carrington, there was a video of rats at Carrington, the stadium, Old Trafford. There was leaks through the stadium during a pre-season match against the Spanish side. I can't remember now, and they had to evacuate a little part of the stadium. There's obviously massive infrastructure problems there. Chelsea are buying land by Cobham. They're buying land by Stamford Bridge. You know, things from a ownership, you know, aspect of putting the club, whether this translates to success on the pitch, but things from an ownership aspect of propelling the club and bettering the club are obviously undeniably moving forward more at Chelsea at this moment in time than it is at Man United.
Long term, and I think especially with what you've done in terms of bringing in like Brighton, like staff and stuff like that, and trying to do smarter transfers. And as we said already, there seems to be an actual transfer strategy at Chelsea. If we were saying in the next 10 years who's going to win the league first, I would say Chelsea. In terms of who's going to win a proper trophy next, if you told me that all of United's like top players stayed fit for a cup campaign and they got to the final of the Champions League, I could just about believe you. I couldn't believe you.
Champions League? I thought you were going to say League Cup.
But no,
Champions League?
Is it more likely
You know
United or
why,
Chelsea?
It's more like United than Chelsea because we're not in it.
You've been talking about strategy though, and you're talking about Chelsea are building for the future, the long term.
Yeah.
Whereas Man United keep trying to plaster over the axe wound with just getting players. Aside from, you could argue, Højlund and Anthony, generally it's been a lot of like Mason Mount, Casemiro. Like they're here for the right now. And given that Rashford and Bruno are in their prime right now and can, at times, when they find form, they're undeniable. They're so good.
Yeah.
I can imagine what you're talking about. Like, Man United might get to somewhere first, but with Man United, they're always one season away from disaster because you're betting on an aging bunch of players at times and a manager who I don't personally rate very highly. So it doesn't take long for that to unravel, whereas Chelsea are trying to build for the future. But it is just such a shot in the dark with a lot of Chelsea players that some of them could come good, some of them could be absolute flops.
I laughed there at your point, but I actually genuinely do completely understand it. It's just that I thought you were going to say the League Cup, but what I would definitely
I'm honest
say,
though, Champions League. Like Inter Milan got to the final in Champions League last season. Is this Man United team much worse than that Inter Milan team?
no, but I would argue that Inter Milan team was a little bit of a blip when we look at teams getting to the Champions League final. And I'm not meaning to be rude here, but it's almost like I imagine, when Spurs got to that Champions League final, Monaco and Porto
Milan
in
got
the
the
Champions League
semi
final
last season. They weren't necessarily regarded as the best team. In cup competitions, it is doable, especially if Rashford and Bruno are on.
With world-class players,
I could imagine
it. With world-class players, you can do it. In the same way that Inter Milan had Lisandro Martinez, like with world-class players, you can do it. And that's what United have right now. It's what Chelsea don't have right now. And that's the only reason why I would say I agree with you. I think Chelsea are doing smarter business. I think the overall model looks better, although Bowley's insane, so who knows what he's going to do next. But if you were to the actual question is who's more likely to win a title, a major trophy, we're talking Premier League or Champions League in the next 5 years, it has to be United. It has to be just because of the talent. Just because
there's more proven players there right now. Yeah, I agree. But I think that long term, who is building to have success more consistently, it is Chelsea.
And I've always been a man that's about the long term. So, argument one. See you in a bit.
It's ironic though. It's ironic because I kind of feel like be careful what you wish for with Chelsea fans. Like, I remember talking to quite a few Chelsea fans who did not like the erratic up and down approach of new manager, like the Roman Abramovich style of if you ain't winning now, get rid of him. And they wanted something to build for the infrastructure, the long term, and that's what you've been given. And what that is painful to start off.
I'll tell you what I do. Brian, we'll carry on sacking managers. I wouldn't worry about that.
No,
we'll carry on doing that.
I'll tell you what I do. Go and find me an honest Chelsea fan that doesn't miss Abramovich, and I'll give you my yearly wage.
I agree. I think that they're now wishing that they had.
I think you're bang on though. I think if any other club were doing what you were doing, we would all go, it's going to come good. If Arsenal basically did it, I think even if United did it, I think Newcastle aren't too dissimilar because we're so used to Chelsea being this sack 'em, get a new manager in, buy players at the peak of their prime. We're just so not used to seeing Chelsea do this that it feels so alien. Do you know what I mean? We're not used to seeing a Chelsea team go, trust the youngsters, give us a season. I do think Poch is a decent manager. I think he's a much better manager than Ten Hag. If you were to tell me now which one's going to last the season, even though United are so bad, I might put money on Ten Hag just because I'm so used to watching Chelsea sack managers.
That's because that's ingrained in your mind. But I think the point I would make to that is very rarely, if ever, is an owner not in it for more reasons than just loving a football club and wanting to have that as their pet project that they see do well. And they're not really bothered about money they're losing because they love that club. Very rare will you ever now find that in modern day football. And I think that when you look at that approach, if you have got that very, very niche type of owner that I just mentioned there in football, that can work. Maybe the hiring and firing and the erratic approach because you've got a manager an owner that's so willing. I don't care about what happens in terms of losing money, things like that. Under sort of modern day ownership, you'd then look at a club that were doing that and think, well, you've got no idea, you've lost your mind.
But do you trust Bowley? Because I know what you're saying, but I know what you're saying.
I trust the people that he's hired. Because
do you trust him
I was talking about Abramovich when I was saying that.
Do you trust him?
I was saying Abramovich. What I was saying was with Roman Abramovich, because he loved the club. Yeah. You would sort of say, do you know what? It's weird and it breaks the rule, but it sort of works for you. And I trust you. Of course I do.
But with this process,
with Bowley, no.
But you say about the reasons that
we've known him a year.
I reckon the reason he owns Chelsea is because blue's his favourite colour. I don't think he knows anything about the club. I don't think he understands the Premier League. And honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if he dropped it tomorrow. and all the smart hires you're talking about in terms of the staff, I agree with you.
He dropped dead.
No.
Dropped it.
If he dropped it. Jesus.
Self-collapse
Jesus
tomorrow.
Christ, man.
Got him having a heart attack. No, I think that the transfer policy, though, they brought a whole load of new people in after Bowley just went a bit mental with it. But even then, no one's really been brought in who you would say is Premier League proven and established. And
But look, would you rather have Man United's recruitment team or would you rather have Chelsea's recruitment team? That's like, let's just go.
pick your poison.
No, but honestly, no, but come on, like
Who's
fair
less
enough,
shit?
But come on, but fair enough, right? We've signed what, like 15 players, right? I know that some of them won't work out.
Today.
Some of them won't. Some of them will be complete duds. Fair enough, right? But a few of them will come good and will be good to hires. And we can do that every year. That's the thing. We can sell players, make the money back, and reinvest.
More than
I don't know. I don't know if you can, though. I don't know if you can because Chelsea have got it in their heads. We get money for our signings, but you got that because the previous signings had achieved stuff. Right now, your signings don't look like achieving anything, and if that continues, and I'm not saying it will, but then you won't be getting bought for. You'll be operating at massive losses.
But then people at clubs that make these decisions will be able to recognise talent because, okay, there's one or two players that we're saying, maybe they're not worth that price tag. Let's say, for example, a Malo Gusto brought in for, what was it, between 20 and 30 million or something? Wasn't a lot. Someone who is recognising the talent idea at a club will be able to look at a Malo Gusto, whether he has won something or not, at some point and go, let's say 3 years from now, 23-year-old right back, he's definitely worth 25.
You're suspending reality here. I don't know how true that is, because the reason that this is tricky is you've done that for 15 players or whatever it was. And my worry is what if he's shown nothing in the last 3 years, like many players do, whether it be Harry Maguire or whatever, and people look at them and go...
But then my point is, I'm saying that regardless of the wins, I'm saying in terms of individual players and performances, and teams can look at that and go, okay, you're in a poor side at the moment, but I look at the way, I look at how you are on the ball, I look at your ability, and I think actually you could do a job in this side, and therefore I am willing to part with money. Are we going to necessarily make a massive profit on them? I'm not saying we will, but what I am saying is I believe there's a lot of players in there that Chelsea have signed, barring probably the Caicedos and Enzos, who you're not going to get anywhere near that money. There are players in there that you will. Malo Gusto, Ugo Chukwu, there's players in there that we've signed that we will get.
The key difference, right?
I don't know who the fuck.
The key difference is the academies.
Well, he's just rattling them off like the household names.
He could have made up 6 of those names and I would have believed him. I was just nodding, sweet, 60 million probably.
When that one comes good, we're all laughing. That's the problem with Chelsea right now is it is the uncertainty, and that's what I'm going to really thoroughly enjoy next season, because this is what I'm really loving about kind of gloating a little bit about Ten Hag and how right I was about him this season, is now when you find out, right, you can't really expect Chelsea players right now to be hitting top form because they're all learning each other's game, and I accept a lot of the excuses that are being made for them as fact. But next season and the season after that, are we going to find out how much money has been wasted? We will know. And the answers will be hard about Mudryk. There'll be no more being bullish. It'll be what's the truth. We'll know. So it will find out quite quickly, I think. And the worry for Pochettino is, with that much pressure to develop that many young players, that's why there's a target on his back already, because what a job. Like, even when Eddie Howe took over Newcastle, he had a group of players who were battling relegation, but they fucking knew each other.
Yeah.
Like, they'd played together for a matter of years. They understood, you're good at this, you're good at that. All right, we'll move a few things around. We'll make Joe Linton a midfielder. But, they know each other and they know how to play with each other. Chelsea, it's a bunch of strangers, and it shows. And as much as there's some quality footballers in there, and the stats, even when you've lost games, have looked pretty decent. At some point, those relationships will develop, and we'll then find out, okay, who's the problem? Is it Poch? Is it the players? Who's not good enough? And that's why I think it'll be easier to sack Poch, and that's why, even if he doesn't deserve it, I think it's inevitable. Poch might be a casualty of a learning process that these players need to go through, and an impatient chairman might not give him the time that he needs.
I think as a Chelsea fan, I can sit here and say that I am not arguing the point that a lot of these players won't live up to the value the money that we spent on them, and maybe won't have the sell-on value. But what I am saying is, I do believe in many cases there's media narratives, and I'm not suggesting you're following one right now, but I'm just saying there's a narrative around Chelsea that's very popular, and it gives people a lot of a lot of banter and whatnot to be had, which is that Chelsea have wasted all this money. And I'm just saying exactly what you said there. I think we need to see
Oh, it's
Outside
unrealistic,
to-
mate. And that's where the narrative isn't fair. You see, the narrative with Ten Hag now, or whatever the narrative is, because I don't really, do the mainstream media thing. I'm more of a conspiracy guy. But
Same here.
I think it's like, I think the narrative is fair now. We judge Ten Hag now because he's had plenty of time and he's signed some solid players. But But Chelsea ain't nowhere near that time period for Judgment Day yet. But it's coming. And that's when we'll find out. I'm looking forward to it. Right now, I'd say Man United are more likely to win something first, but that Chelsea are setting up for the long term to be a better club. And I think the only thing that's going to save Man United is getting rid of the Glazers. But that doesn't mean they can't have success right now. Like they're spending a fucking what a save!
What a save.
Save it off the
What a
post.
save.
No, it was a save.
Go ahead,
I need to go spec save.
Maddison with a left foot curler. Just outside of the post after the keeper
that was
tipped
going
it.
in.
But that was going in.
Has Madison got a shout for player of the season so far?
Yeah.
So
Sure,
far, yeah,
shout.
definitely,
Cool.
yeah.
He's got a
Definitely.
shout.
Is it, like, who's had a better season than Madison so far? I'd throw Saka in there. I think Saka's got 5 goals.
Ward-Prowse.
I'd say
there
player
so
of the
far.
season so far, Madison, yeah.
Yeah.
I think
And he
Saka's
still
had a
went-
good season. I just don't think he's as influential on Arsenal as Maddison has been so far this season on Spurs.
Yeah.
Because there's so many other players at Arsenal, like Odegaard, super influential. Do you know what I mean?
I feel like I've seen him play better than what he is now.
Mate, Saka's playing really interesting, man, because he's almost... He's so fascinating to watch because there's this whole thing that he's played more Premier League games than any Arsenal player has ever played on the trot. Like he just plays week in, week out. He's the record holder.
What is it?
No-
Do you know the
no one-
record?
It's like
stupid.
80 something.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
ridiculous.
Crazy.
Right? But what we're watching at it, and it's mad watching a 21-year-old do this. He rests within games. Like he never dominates a game. You'll never see that with Saka. He's quite similar to Salah in the sense that in key moments he pops up, creates an assist, scores a goal. He somehow seems to play the rest of the game on 70%, and it's genius.
He's like Alexander Usyk, but
Yeah, literally.
Like how Usyk takes a little round off here and there,
Yeah.
and then he comes back.
Mate, Saka does that. It's mad to watch, and it's the reason why so many Arsenal fans go, we have to sit him down, we have to rest him. You kind of don't, because he's not playing games like Gabriel Jesus. You watch Jesus play; he plays every game at 110%. Like he goes nuts. It's ridiculous, and that's the reason he gets injured so often. Saka's a really smart player in terms of conserving his body, conserving his energy. But at the same time, he's got ridiculous numbers this season. Like we were talking about Son being in the shout for Golden Boot. There's no reason Saka isn't. If we weren't gifting bloody penalties to Kai Havertz today, Saka would be on even more goals.
Yeah, was the Kai Havertz penalty a little bit of a go on? We'll give him that one.
Go on.
Chance for.
He's
the best keeper ever. This
How
guy.
is he saved
Alisson
that?
is a beast.
That was a rocket volley.
That was unreal from Son, though, isn't it?
The technique was insane. He's just saved
Look at
2
that.
goals. Boom.
Avi.
Whack.
I was right at him though. I thought it was more in the corner than that, to be fair. Still a good
It's
save.
a bit of a camera save, though, isn't
Yeah,
it?
no, it was right. It wasn't like it was in his vicinity.
He needed to make that save, though.
I thought it was
Come
pinging
on.
in the corner or
Come
something.
on. Should've held it.
I think he's the best keeper in Premier League history.
We'll
I think he can do anything.
We're getting closer though.
And I think he's got a harder job behind that Liverpool defence than Czech ever had behind the Chelsea defence.
That's not up for argument.
we
That's fact.
need to make this momentum count right now. That's all I'm
That
saying.
Liverpool
That's it,
defence are
yeah,
nowhere
yeah.
near as good as Chelsea's 05 sort of defence.
We put it in.
Chance for Spurs to cross in after this corner. Real back post cleared.
Spurs looking dangerous.
They're gonna have
yeah.
another go.
We need
Maddison?
to make this count. Make it count.
Here's a Spurs question. How many assists would Maddison get if Kane was still in this team?
A lot.
Oh, I love
And when we're talking about England, why are we not putting those two together?
I mean, Gareth Southgate just does his own thing, really, doesn't he?
We're talking about a man that still plays Maguire, bro. That's what we're talking about right here.
Well, I mean, when you look at the talent we've got, it's probably one of the most talented teams we'll ever have, and yet none of us are going to sit here and expect them to win anything. We're just seeing the replay of this
That's a great
this shot again.
We're top heavy though.
Yeah.
back,
The
we're
defense.
not-
If Stones got ruled out for a tournament, you're looking at the defence, then you're going, oh,
Mate,
God.
we're ignoring talent, though. Why does Ben White not play for England?
They're saying
makes no
it's gone. No, I'm not justifying it.
No,
Ben
I-
White
I-
should 100%
I think there's
be in.
something weird.
But
There's
what has
something weird.
happened?
He
Like,
fell out with
something
someone or
bad has
something.
happened.
But mate, he like to have got as far as Arsenal did with Ben White playing
Yeah.
right back, but kind of playing right centre back last season. There is no way that he shouldn't be in a team where Maguire starts every game for England. It's ridiculous. Like Levi Colwell should play more games for
Like,
England.
look at this. This
Liverpool on the
Watch
counter.
this
It's
game.
Mo Salah. He's got
I
runners.
can't watch this
Gomez
game.
gets through with the cross. it's gone out for a throw.
This is how it's going to be, though.
If I'm a Liverpool fan, I'm losing my mind over Gomez in this game. I can't believe he's come out for the second half.
He's busting a gut as well. He's bombing forward. He's not even being like conservative. We got to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, by the way. Big love to Fair Play, who are the show sponsors. Don't forget the link for them is in the description below. Isn't that right, Josh, mate?
Yeah, I'm not feeling that confident about my bet right now. I can see there being another goal in the second half.
Yeah.
You're laughing, aren't you?
I've got 3 goals or more, and it's end-to-end stuff, especially with Liverpool down 10 men. Don't forget, Fair Play or the betting app to settle all of the WhatsApp debates with your mates. No more chat about we'll put this bet on. I'll give you the cash when you see it. You've literally got a betting app now that fires the bet over to your mate's phone for you. All you have to do is sign up. It takes like 30 seconds to sign up, and when you do, use the code TKO at the subscription bit. It's so easy to do, and you'll get a free £5 bet on your account. So big love to them, and if you do support the kickoff, you have to download this app because it's super easy. It's not a normal bookie. They're not taking any money off of you, and it's just have a bit of fun with the lads. So yeah, shout out to them. I'm feeling quite confident now that Spurs seem to have the bit between their teeth in terms of. Ange just sent them out with the right plan. They're trying to overwhelm Liverpool, and it's just a question of, can Liverpool mentally stand up to this level of pressure?
I think we're going to get caught on the counter. I've got a horrible feeling about this game for some reason.
You got to take your chances now.
And I just feel like it's because we're not winning. Look, it's like little things like that. The 50-50s and stuff, we're not winning in this game. Like, they're winning all of these things.
Bissouma's had a bit of a weird game. There's been a few times in this game people have run past him. He's not running that midfield. When you think he's up against Szoboszlai and McAllister, that's it. That's the entire Liverpool midfield, and Bissouma's still not running this game. I love Bissouma, by the way. I think he's one of their best.
I don't think honestly, I've been watching the game. I don't think we've turned up to our usual levels that we've been at this season. I've been watching the game. Like, the passing, off the ball, the defending, the pressing, it just hasn't been at the level. It's just, football's so weird like that. Like, I like to think I'm not a superstitious person, but then in football, you always come across teams that just have that thing over you. It's so weird. And we just always, I don't know what it is with Liverpool. We can't beat them. We don't play well against them. They've got this mental edge over us.
No matter how pedal dexterous you are, you just.
We've got Jota on, by the way, for Gakpo, who's having a bit of an impact early on. Spurs switching it up.
Love that switch. You've got to outrun them here now. You've got to run them ragged.
This is what I'm saying, and we're not.
And you've got to stretch them as well and get your fullbacks out wide as best you can.
Well, this is what I was going to say. Do you bring on Brennan Johnson now?
I don't know, because they're sitting back. He's kind of someone that likes to run in behind.
Who else is on the bench? What's the other?
You've got Solomon.
Liverpool are very much happy to do what they're doing now.
Yeah.
They're fine with this. They'll sit back, they'll catch you on the counter. They'll sit back, they'll catch you on the counter.
But we're not even like making the right passes or anything. Like, look, what is this?
I know what I'm saying. It's all Maddison.
You need a prime Christian Eriksen in there and all.
This is horrible.
We've got a Champions League game coming up, lads. Mbappe arrives on Newcastle's turf later this coming week. And Newcastle, actually, we're in a bit of form at the moment. We had a really rough start. Man City, Liverpool and Brighton beating us. We've beat Brentford. We went 0-0 in Milan. We beat Sheffield United 8-0. We've just beaten Man City 1-0 in the Cup, and then Burnley 2-0. We've had, four clean sheets in a row. We look like we're kind of back, although it was a bit of a scrappy game against Burnley. And Anthony Gordon in particular has really showed up this season. Like, he is one of our main guys. And I'm just wondering sort of what the table thinks about the potential for us this season, given the fact that we are playing Champions League football, and I'm already having nightmares at the idea of Mbappe running towards Dan Burn. That is really worrying because he struggled against Burnley.
Oh, one more pass
in the middle.
He's still got it. He's still got it.
Shoot.
Oh, that is
Edge of the area.
Shoot. Don't do it. Why? Why would you shoot
straight
against Alisson as well?
Why would you shoot? I honestly think some footballers are brain dead. Honestly, they play it all the time. They study the game. They go through tactic books, all this, and they still do brain dead things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get the ball here, recycle it, wait for more people to look.
There was even the winger on the
Yeah,
other side there.
Liverpool
Wing
are
back.
definitely going to score.
Craig,
Like,
you
definitely.
expect them to have eyes in the back of his head?
They're definitely
stop
gonna
being
score.
unrealistic, mate. It's
They're
not fair.
definitely going to score. This is frustrating.
You've got to
I'm
do
more
something to
angry.
change it.
Was I acting like this in the Arsenal?
No, you weren't. You weren't.
Because it's frustrating.
can
We
see the
do
stress.
not beat Liverpool. It pisses me off.
You've got to change something now. You can't keep playing in the way you are. It's not good enough.
So about Newcastle.
Sorry.
Sorry, back onto Newcastle.
Sorry, I know.
Back onto Newcastle. In the
I mean, we
Champions
are
League.
here to watch this game.
Yeah.
But
No.
I'm just saying.
Just wanted to see what the table thought.
Yeah.
Look, so 4 wins in a draw in my last 5, including a draw against Milan. I must admit, the Milan game humbled me. We were played off the park by them. I was like, yeah, Italian league. How good can that be? They absolutely. Oh, in behind.
Goal! It's got to be! Yeah!
Offside.
No. Who was offside there?
Can I just say that was one of the balls of the season? Did you see that ball by Maddison?
Yeah, did you see that ball by Mudryk last week? I'm
Oh,
just saying.
don't do that. This is outside
Mate,
foot.
Mudryk.
This was Modric.
Sit down with that.
This was Modric. Yes. Who was offside?
This was an unbelievable pass. Fair play.
He's
Oh,
way
Maddison.
offside.
Yeah,
He's way
yeah,
offside.
Draw the lines, guys.
Way
Draw the
offside.
lines.
It's
That's
Gomez
all I'm
again,
saying.
though. If I'm a Liverpool fan, I'm losing my mind over Gomez. How is he still on that pitch?
Yeah.
Trent
must not be fully fit.
Yeah,
he must not be. He must be.
Bring Konate on. Do anything. Get him off the pitch.
Can I
man.
get right back?
Yeah, I haven't seen Konate right back. Oh, here we go.
Another chance.
Maddison's
for
in.
Spurs.
They
This
got
is
players
relentless.
back. Corner.
Okay,
We're
so
not going to make any of this count, and then they're going to suck. But sorry, Newcastle.
I have to say, Brian, as well, you've got a very good run of games coming up. Can we just talk about the games you've got? To play?
Well, we got PSG.
Other than that.
But West Ham and Palace in the league, then Dortmund, then Wolves, then Man United, then Arsenal, then Dortmund. We've got a lot of like big teams in world football coming up, which is exciting. Like we're not doing it the easy way. Spurs got to score at some point. Fucking hell.
Is that another corner? Wow.
I don't know. I think we're in for a rocky season. I think there's going to be a few ups and downs here.
But look, you were really downbeat after losing to City and Liverpool, and
the Brighton one was really bad. Like we got played off the park by them. That was brutal.
I did tell you they were going to come good.
Yeah, we were saying it.
I know even a broken clock's right twice a day, but I did say that they were going to come good because for someone that's able to have perspective, look back, not really have emotion because I've not got a horse in the race, so to speak. I was able to look at it and go, do you know what? Newcastle's core, their players they've performed over time. You know, the core of that team's good. The momentum, the stability within the club, and also the attitude of the players. I watched a bit of that documentary too after you had said about it, and I thought, it's got a good feeling around it, Newcastle. And I'd already known that anyway, so I was able to see that they were going to come good. And I think, and this could sound like a backhanded compliment, I still do believe that you'll get through that group. But obviously, I'm the same as you in thinking maybe I underestimated AC Milan a little bit.
The PSG result is going to be interesting.
Yeah, but I think you're better
than.
than Dortmund. But I think maybe I underestimated AC Milan a little bit. Then again, the next time you play them, it's going to be at St James's Park. We know that crowd, especially on a Champions League night, it's going to be like a 12th man. However, to give you a backhanded compliment, if you were to go out in the group, definitely make you one of the favourites in the Europa League. And I know any Newcastle fan would definitely take a Europa League and all.
I would love that.
It's a brilliant one.
Do you know what's funny, right? When the supporter of another team goes, that's a good trophy for you. Like, it's such a it is.
Yeah, and the ironic thing is, my team aren't even in it.
No, I'd be doing backflips if Newcastle won the Europa League. I ain't going to be ashamed of that. Not at all. It's got prestige to it, even if it isn't the Champions League. And for us to win a European Cup would be fucking mental. So I would take that, absolutely.
Can I ask you a question? Sorry, just a quick one, because this might be because of an injury or something. Why has Tonali not been starting?
So he basically had a couple of dodgy games, and then Eddie Howe comes out and says, he's kind of only trained once in the last month. And
Because of injury.
looked like he didn't fit into our system at all.
Because I find your midfield quite confusing.
Uh-huh.
I do find it quite confusing. You play Guimaraes at the base quite a lot, and I don't think that's his best position. I mean,
Not where he wants to play.
No, exactly. But then at the same time, you kind of think Tonali isn't quite a 6. You play him a bit further. The funny thing I think with Newcastle this season, when Eddie Howe first came in, I thought he was really smart in terms of buying British players who all played the same way. Dan Burn came in, Kieran Trippier came in, and I remember when you came to the Emirates in January last season, it was one of the best defensive displays I've ever seen. Yeah. Genuinely, it was unbelievable. Then I watched you go to AC Milan, and they tried to play football with Milan a bit. And I thought, this is quite weird. I don't understand why you're not sticking to principles, doing what you're good at, and keeping things tight. And I think Newcastle are going to enter a really interesting phase now where you've proved that you can be a great defensive team. You've got really solid players. You've got tried and tested professionals like Trippier who can run a team, good at set pieces, blah, 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 blah. What's going to happen now as you start buying better players, and you've already got great players? Isak, I think, is one of the best forwards in the league. Grimares, I've said it a couple of times, I think he's maybe the best central midfielder in the league. He's certainly in the conversation. Sven Botman's brilliant as well. You're going to have to start playing more football. It's what Eddie Howe used to do at Bournemouth. He played football. I don't know if it suits the group of players you have right now. And certainly looking at the Champions League, if I was a Newcastle fan, I'd be going, you know what? We can get points if we hold tight against Dortmund. We can get points if we hold tight against Milan. There's a way. I've mentioned them already. Inter Milan, they got to the final of the Champions League playing tight defensive football. I think the difficult thing with Eddie Howe is he's going to want to start leaning into his principles and playing football a bit more. I don't think, when you've got Dan Burn at left back, you haven't got the squad for that yet.
The trick to being a good manager is knowing who you've got and playing to their strengths. Don't try and make those players play to the strength that you want them to play to. And I think Ten Hag is finding that very difficult right now, for example. So I think you're very observant, mate. You've made great points, and that's exactly a bit of the struggle that we've seen for Eddie Howe. And I do worry that the purchase of Tonali is a sign of intent. Oh my God, Spurs are all over the. The purchase of Tonali. The purchase of Tonali is a sign of intent of the style of football he wants. There's aggressive, but also can play.
Yeah.
And I think he's wanting to get a balance there. And it's a little bit like what you said about Saka, in that he picks his spells in games to explode into life. I think Newcastle have to do that as well. We have to be super tight defensively and not try and expect to go punch for punch with solidified European football clubs who've been there for years, like decades even, while we've not been there. So especially against PSG, like when you've got arguably the best footballer in the world running at you, man, we're going to... And Kieran Trippier right now, he is the greatest fullback I've ever seen at Newcastle. And he's going to have the game of his life in that game.
But he's going to need help. If you leave him one-on-one with Mbappe because you try and play football and come forward, he's going to get torn to shreds. If you leave Mbappe space behind, he'll get torn to shreds. I watched what Newcastle did against Saka last season. You had 3 players on it. Mm-hmm. You had Dan Burn, who was getting backed up by Joe Willock as well. That he had help around him. I don't understand. But I don't understand why Newcastle, and you've only played one game in Europe so far, just do what you're good at.
You know, there's a little bit of a mental issue as well, though, in that when we play the bigger sides, you can see there's nervousness there. So against Man City earlier this season, Man City didn't play well, but neither did we. We played worse. We just didn't show up. You know, they weren't 100%, but we were nowhere near 100%. Same against Liverpool when we let them off. Same against Brighton. And there's times where expectation, I think, on players who've never ever had this, and kind of what we talk about with the youngsters at Chelsea, when you've never had that level of expectation before, some players will fucking rise to the occasion, like Wayne Rooney and them in the past, and some of them will just fucking shrink. And we're going to find out so much about this team this season, more than we did last season, because it's easy when you're the underdogs and you're plucky, but when there's expectation, I am worried. And I'm also not just worried about, the Champions League is a luxury, right? But if you lose it badly and you get knocked out and you get humiliated, it's kind of hard to let that go. Liverpool with a chance in behind. Good.
Great.
You're saying about being the underdogs there, though. Yeah, in the Premier League, in your domestic competition, of course, you're going from being the underdogs to having a weight of expectation on you. I wouldn't necessarily say you've got that in Europe, I think you've still got an underdog mentality.
No, you're completely right, but the hangover of being humiliated in the Champions League, we seen, for example, when we lost to Liverpool in the way we did, it's the worst way to lose a game. Down to 10 men, you're losing in the last second, 2 last-minute goals against Núñez. Against Brighton, we were mentally and emotionally shot, and that's what allowed them. Evan Ferguson pumped us with 3 goals on his own. I just don't want to see how us get into a situation where our heads begin to drop, because at times, I think what we're looking at is a really quite well-balanced squad that Newcastle have got. It's just not... Overall, we haven't got if I look at Man United's team, Rashford and Bruno, really great match winners. I don't think that we have that level of match winner, but we have a really good balance. Like when we get an injury to Isak, bringing in a Callum Wilson, that is such good cover. And in the midfield, when we get Joe Willock back, when you look at that the midfield of Joe Linton, Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes, Joe Willock,
Longstaff,
there's 5 really solid centre midfielders, and the wings are where my worry is. Barnes has just got injured.
Yeah.
And Almiron scored today, so he might score a few more in the next few weeks. Get your money on. But Anthony Gordon is basically our main winger, and he's a kid.
I'm surprised you let Sam Maximin go.
I am.
I was really surprised by that. I didn't think there was any need to do that. I agree with you that in terms of talent and in terms of what players are good at, it's a really balanced squad. Where it's imbalanced, I think, is in terms of experience and in terms of the level those players have played at. You look at someone like Bruno Guimaraes. I know I'm going on about it. Like full Brazilian international, came through the Brazilian system. He's played at every level for Brazil. He's ready to go toe-to-toe with PSG.
Yeah.
Joe Willock and Sean Longstaff, they probably didn't ever really... I know Joe Willock came up at Arsenal. They probably didn't expect to play Champions League group games like this. And so you've got such a disparity, I think.
Dan Burn is a great example of that.
On one side, you've got Kieran Trippier. He's played all the way through a World Cup. He is used to games of this level. He's played for Atletico Madrid. Dan Burn...
You know what it is, though? You know what it is, mate? You're completely right. And I think there's because of FFP, it's a walk before you can run. And we're in that walking phase now where this period of our club's growth, that's just going to happen. We're
Another red.
And the key is to
he's
not
got
get carried
one.
away.
What has happened
Another red
here?
card?
Yes.
He was already on a yellow.
Liverpool have no discipline here.
No, he's done
I don't
a
like this.
horrendous slide tackle. He was already on a yellow. It is a silly foul.
And he didn't even start the match.
Don't
He's
Mate,
come on off the bench.
Craig,
Can I just suggest something, lads, right? Do you not think, right, Jurgen Klopp has to take a level of responsibility
100%.
for this many sendings off at this point in the season already. In key games, your players play how you tell them to. And to have this happen again, like he's sending them out aggressive, but they're not like it's cool aggression, it's smart aggression, it's not recklessness. And this guy, this is stupidity.
Was that straight red?
No, it was a yellow, second yellow. But also, did he touch him here? Can we? Because I just saw the replay there. It was a reckless tackle, but I don't know if he touched
The
him.
first yellow was actually really harsh. I thought Idogi, because you guys were speaking, you didn't see he was running and Jota kind of jogged behind him, but it looked like he clipped his own legs, Idogi, for the first yellow.
Now it really puts the pressure on Spurs.
Well, mate, I was just about to say, how does Craig look more sick now that he's up against 9 men?
Haven't you noticed, since they've gone down to 10 men before this, I've been silent because I'm getting really frustrated that we're not taking advantage of this. Now that they've gone down to 9 men, if we don't win this game, I'm going to be livid.
Right, I said to
livid.
it's
I
a
said to
failure
you,
if
I
you don't
said,
win
I
this
said to you after the first red, do you feel like you have to win the game now? After that second red, do you feel like you have to win this game now?
I felt like we had to win it before.
But mate,
Now it's like you can't. It has to be a win. It's non-negotiable.
So you think, because we didn't see the first yellow card, you think that was a harsh one?
From what I saw, it looked harsh. But you know, who knows with these referees these days? They're giving yellow cards out for
Yeah,
breathing.
they are. To be fair.
Look at this.
This is
I'm
hard.
gonna
Imagine Liverpool
Brian,
go down to 9 and nick a winner.
I'm gonna honestly flip this chair over
Please
and have
don't.
to pay
I just
for your
bought
mic.
that one.
I'm fuming. I'm fuming that they've got 9 men and we are not passing the ball right. We are not playing composed. We're at home. What the fuck are the crowd doing there? Are the crowd G'ing them
Nunes
on?
warming up. You know what's next?
I think he was warming
Darwin
up.
time.
I think he was warming up, and I think he sat down actually.
Because
You're not going to do an attacking sub now, are you? Like Trent looks
Why
like he's
not?
stripped off.
Why
And he's
not?
gonna
Trent's got the universal arm
You
sign
need
and
a
all
threat,
that to
though.
get up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do need a
I'll
threat.
take Luis Diaz off for Nunes now. That frightens me more as a Spurs defender if I've got Nunes running at me than Diaz now.
That's going to be stuck in the head of Jurgen Klopp. Of the last time I sent Nunes on in this scenario, he won the whole game single-handed.
Yeah.
And the bloke who threaded it to him is still on the pitch, and Mo Salah. Mo Salah's messy like passing undid Newcastle at the back.
I have to say, Liverpool fans are going to be absolutely fuming about the refereeing performance today. This has been a very controversial game, and the offside wasn't an offside, was it? Let's be honest.
Mate, Klopp's going to need another hair transplant after this.
Honestly, if
Crazy.
we do not win this game, I'm going to be livid. Like you're never going to see how angry I've ever been. Like this is insane.
If Liverpool win this game, though, what does this do for their mentality?
I don't even know.
It would be
Honestly, I don't
game-changing.
even want to think about that because a draw right now would be like unacceptable in my mind. So if
You wouldn't take a draw. You wouldn't
if
take a draw.
Spurs lose
you need
this,
them.
I'll go mental. What are we doing? Like, what are we doing? Why are we? We've got 2 extra men on the field, boys.
It's not quick enough, is it?
It's
It
not
really
quick.
isn't. It's not.
Shouldn't have to be quick. There's 9 players again.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? Just stroke the ball around quicker.
I'll tell you what,
It looks
Jacob,
desperate.
you made a fair point though earlier on. It's like, who's going to come off the bench for Spurs to change the game?
This is the thing.
They just put Solomon on for Son.
and that was a weird
Have they
stuff.
taken Son off?
Yeah, they took
Yeah,
him
Son's
off for
come off.
Solomon. It's a weird. Here we go. So triple sub, Endo coming on, Konate and Trent
The kind
coming
of
on.
bullshit
Mate,
I mean, man.
that-
This is
That's
ridiculous.
Klopp saying he wants to draw.
Of course.
I mean, a draw from today would be a great
Of course
result.
he'll take
from
a
them.
point.
Yeah,
They've
but he
got
should be
9
pushing
men.
it. He should be pushing it.
Are you insane? They've got 9 men.
Because of the way Spurs are playing.
No, you
They
just
look scared.
you sit all the way back and just do what they've been doing. One long ball up, and I hope Salah can just make a moment of magic. That's all they've been doing anyway. They haven't been doing anything. They've just been resisting the pressure and punting the ball up
The
long.
thing we've got to remember, though, there's been a lot of stoppages. This game's going to go on to 110, 115
big
minutes.
time.
There's still time. No, because this is only his second round of substitutes, Klopp, isn't it? So there's still time for him to make another sub again. So Nunez could come on
There's
later.
5 subs in total, is that right?
Yeah, but you can only do them in
3
3
windows.
rounds.
So he's done 4. Has he done 4 so far?
He did Jota at half time, so yeah, 4
And then
total.
this
So he's got one more window.
He's got one more. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Nunez. It's Nunez.
It's going to be, yeah.
It's him looking at this and going, if it's still like this with 10 minutes to go, I'm going to bring on Nunez.
Oh, Salah's off, they're saying here.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's an interesting one, isn't
Honestly,
it? Like, I thought
this
Salah was the only one
This
that was
sounds
looking
so
like he was
crazy
gonna
to say. I
score.
wish it was 11 versus 11. That's how crazy this sounds to say. Because I could accept it if we drop points then against a full like 11 v 11. If we do not win this game, 9 men at home, when will we get a better chance to beat Liverpool?
It'll make me feel better after the Newcastle list, though, to be honest with you.
And you better do something, bro. Everyone's been bigging you up. You better do something.
Let's talk about Barcelona because they're in deep shit.
I really hope so.
Deep trouble. Forgot to edit that out for the YouTube. Yeah. Basically, they've been potentially, allegedly, bribing.
It doesn't look good, does it, when you've been accused of giving some payments directly to the head of the Spanish Referee Association?
Yeah.
Over a 7-year period,
Wow.
they've been alleged to have given this man $7.9 million.
Jesus Christ.
It's a lot of it's a lot of time. Now it's an interesting one because Jerry and I were talking about this before the match. It does cover a time period where that match it's a disgrace by Drogba.
No!
It covers that time
It's a
period.
disgrace!
Now that was a very controversial game with a few decisions that we might not have agreed with.
Few.
Maybe some as bad as today, probably a few more. But it is very interesting, isn't it, that Barcelona are in this position and they are being accused, and there is a potential here that they will be expunged. There is a chance
Can
that
you say that in
Barcelona,
English?
aka they will not exist anymore.
Self-delete.
It will be
not
Self-delete.
self-delete.
That's
Well,
never,
someone
never
else
going to
delete it,
happen.
but yeah.
Never going to happen.
Can you imagine if what that would do?
It won't.
to
Do
the-
you know that's the
Wow.
depressing thing with Craig? It's in the same way there's 115 charges against City. It's never going to happen. But the one thing.
But we don't want it to happen, though. You want it to happen.
What? Get rid of Barcelona?
Yeah, you don't want it to happen.
Mate, I've suffered some heartbreak at
Yeah, but it's
Barcelona, man.
Barcelona.
I'll watch them get.
It's one of the greatest football
bumped to wherever
institutions
you said
ever.
it is.
Nah.
The thing is, I will say, at what point do we start asking questions about Guardiola? He's gone to City, 115 charges, but this is during his
Oh, I
entire
like-
reign at Barcelona.
Stop it.
At what point do we start
Says
asking?
the link.
Hold on.
what point
You're
do we
missing
start
one
asking
during his playing career.
Which one?
Doping.
He got
Oh,
popped.
yeah.
He got popped for steroids,
Yeah.
didn't he?
So then we got to look at Arteta because he was part of those Man City teams.
Oh, we-
when
That's
they were
why he
doing
got
the
out,
free
man.
kicks.
That's why he got out. He wasn't happy.
Oh,
Pep took drugs
Yeah.
when he was a player, literally worked with a club that were bribing the refs, then went to a crooked club that were paying money to everyone and all of that.
He is
Yeah.
one nasty piece.
This is
of
it.
work.
Pep Guardiola, he was never that good anyway.
Well, let's talk about that though, because Craig's been a big fan of Pep Guardiola. Have you not?
I'm still a big fan. He's the greatest manager of all time.
What if this was all bribery?
What happens
What
if
was
this?
all bribery?
What was if
The
Barcelona are
tactics, the
convicted?
training,
No,
the moving players into
The
different
referees,
positions.
letting the penalties stand.
No, but what if they do get convicted and they are seen to be giving out these bribes, and it goes to court and they are convicted, and then City go and they get all of their charges.
What does that do?
Again, convicted.
How does that affect Pep Guardiola's legacy? I'm confused.
But because he's involved in clubs that are corrupt or have
Yeah, but
bribed
the football's
people.
still the football, right? The football is still the football.
It is, but do Barcelona's
Yeah, but
titles
the
get
trophies
pulled
and
away?
the titles may
Yeah.
not still be the
No, but
trophies
even
and
if
the
they
If
pull-
you
titles.
win
even if
things
they pull
via
them-
corruption, it doesn't have the same reputational, history.
Armstrong.
Of course,
You know,
but
there's-
that Barcelona team is still the greatest team ever, though. Like, just look at the players that played in that team.
Do you then go
Iniesta.
back though and go through the individual games and go, oh, would they have won that game?
Yeah.
Or would that have been a draw?
Yeah, there's
Like,
surely got to be games where
Yeah,
they've won it by a 1-goal margin.
I get what Craig's saying though. Like Barcelona weren't good because of refereeing decisions. They
No,
were
that
good.
team was.
Do you know
You're talking
what I
about
mean?
some of the best players ever. Busquets in his
I
prime, Dani
completely agree with you. The
Alves,
team
Victor
was,
Valdez,
The team was
Abidal.
great,
Like, what
and
we
obviously we're having a bit of fun with the Pep thing. But
Yeah.
the real story is like, if you are Pep Guardiola or you are some of these footballers,
watch this.
you should be raging at Barcelona for being involved in this level of corruption, because it does make your achievements look less special. There's no way I can look at my achievements when I found out a club's literally been bribing every referee in town to give us the rub of the green. That's not good.
Do you remember the other thing was the press conference when he was asked about the charges brought about, against Man City originally? And I don't know whether this was before the charges were brought, but do you remember what he said? He said if they were found guilty of it, I'd leave.
Yep.
He said that in a press conference. This is again hypothetical, but does he leave if they are found guilty of it? If, for example, they are found guilty of X amount, but then they are found not guilty of a certain other amount, there's a grey area there. Does he leave?
It's going to be 4 years until a decision happens. He's going to be gone anyway.
He'll be long gone with all these trophies in his back pocket. But I wonder what the punishment will be for Barcelona, because the problem for them is financial punishment, which is pretty standard in this sort of thing, I would assume. That would probably cripple the club. It would ruin them. Like, I don't know how much they can handle suffering now. They're
already suffering.
They're already basically remortgaged to the eyeballs, and you were scratching your head wondering how they even sign players. Players taking wage reductions left, right, and centre. This could be the final straw on a financial level potentially.
Yeah, they had to completely restructure their wage demands across the entire team, and they had to offload players like Fati, who would have probably made up the squad because they couldn't afford them, and they want to re-sign players and give them increased wages. So yeah, like I think, as you say, financially, like it's going to be a really dangerous time. So like I don't feel that they're going to cease to exist, but like they're going to be in some serious trouble going forward. And ultimately, Liga isn't going to be making considerably more money in the near future anyway. So they're going to be in trouble. And
look, I'm not. I love other leagues of football, but like when you look at the things that have gone on in Italian and Spanish football, which were often regarded as third and second or whichever, depending on which one you preferred, up with the Premier League. The level of corruption that's been going on in them leagues for years is mental. Like, they didn't give a fuck over there. It's like the Wild West. There's no reputational damage. It's like, whatever. And I don't know. It kind of brings up the issue with Osimhen. What's happening with him? Do you want to explain that?
Yeah, so Victor Osimhen, obviously, he's had a very tough week. He's had his own team making fun of him on TikTok. That was the first video. So basically, a video gets uploaded onto TikTok of him missing a penalty. And you're thinking, I could understand that if that was from a Juve account or an Inter Milan account.
A fan account of that as well.
But it comes from Napoli's own account, right? That's the first video. And then there's another video comparing him to a coconut, which is just, like, obviously, it's just not acceptable. And it comes from a Napoli account. And it's just like, what is going on here? Do you blame an intern for making these posts, or have you got to put some blame on the Napoli board?
Does an intern have that sort of responsibility to be
this is the
able
thing.
to? That's serious stuff. Managing a football team's social media. That's obviously a very high up job, a serious thing. Surely they don't have that sort of responsibility to be able to do that. So then you have to ask the question. Is there something going on behind the scenes here? Is there a subliminal message? Is there a fallout? Why this
people
has
sign that off? Like a group of people would have signed off that content. You know how it works. Like no one just uploads something. But the thing, what's the name of the Napoli owner?
Laurentiis.
He's nuts.
Yeah, De Laurentiis.
And the thing, he's nuts. And the thing is, in organisations like that, it does bleed down. Do you know what I mean? If you've got an owner, does anyone really believe that the owner feels in any way bad about those videos?
Well, this is again the other part.
He's not apologetic.
Well,
they haven't apologised.
They haven't apologised at all. So they've released a statement and they've said, it's a shame that he's interpreted this way and seen to be offensive. Sorry wasn't in the statement at all. But what we got.
What? There was no sorry.
No sorry at all.
It's a shame you're offended.
Yeah, I'm so sorry that you feel that way. That you think I've done something wrong.
Listen, I know we have our problems with racism in England, and every top league, will have its problems with racism, but the amount that goes on in Serie A is getting a bit out of control now. Like, we saw what happened with Lukaku, and then they made it seem like he should, he's in the wrong for what happened with him.
Yeah.
Now we're seeing his own club. This guy's made history, he should be heralded. Maybe not the exact same level. We put up there with Maradona. He's gone and won them, a Scudetto. Like, he's done big things. And I don't understand how a player that's made that impact, scored all those goals, won you your first title in God knows how long, is being mocked by the club. That's insane when you think about it. Like, what's going on there?
I have to say, I feel really sorry for him as well, because he has to go up and he's played a game 2 days after all of this has come out, and he scored in the game. He was a complete professional. Like, you got to say,
did he celebrate?
You got to give credit to him.
Where it's not as if he didn't celebrate, but he didn't enjoy it, if that makes sense. He sort of walked away, acknowledged the fans.
There's a disconnect now because of what's happened.
Every top team in Europe will be looking at him. Like he's arguably.
Well, he's just deleted all of his pictures
Napoli,
on the Instagram of
everything.
of everything Napoli related. Yeah.
It's mad. Yeah. Do you know what? Yeah, in like football altogether, can you ever give me an example of social media in football and football clubs and whatnot being a good thing? You only hear negative. Like, they should just keep away from it and just have the starting lineups posted, and you know what I mean. It's like it's only ever a bad thing.
To be fan accounts, they can be funny.
Yeah,
Not funny.
Yeah.
Oh God, honestly.
Guys, I'm sorry. I'm really trying to focus on this comment. This is doing my head in this game.
Talk about it.
Doing my head.
Why is it doing your head in?
Because we have no ideas. Like, Maddison is supposed to be that creative guy. He's struggling to unlock it. Liverpool obviously have just thrown everyone in the box, and you've just got these massive, gigantic towers in Konate, Matip, Van Dijk. So we can't swing the ball in the box. That's not working. So we're trying to play it on the ground and find the little holes to put it through, and they're just shutting all the doors. Like, this is what they talk about. You know, it seems easy on paper to beat a team with 9 men, but then once you go from 10 to 9, it's literally just defend for your lives. Everyone in the box.
There's no tactics anymore. There's no tactics. I mean, I'm genuinely quite surprised that Klopp hasn't left anyone up there to kind of chase this game for Liverpool.
No, because this is what it's working. Look, if they come out a little bit and chase, they could get caught out of. Oh, look, see, this is what happens when there's a bit of space. Stop running. I can't.
Just before we leave Osimhen, can we just have a quick chat about where we think he will end up? Because I think it's quite clear now that he's going to leave. Like, there's no way that he can stay there.
I don't
know. Well, considering the agent is talking about suing the club. There's not, and he's only got 2 years left on his contract.
If this was any normal club, if this was a British club, if this was a Spanish club, if it's any other club, I'd say you're right. Because it's Italy, because it's Napoli. I just think, like, you know what the owner's like. He'll say, all right, well, you know, the price was 175, call it 250 now, if he's going to be an arse about it. The other thing as well, like, we're all, you know, fans of clubs here. Would you want him at Chelsea?
Yes, definitely.
Would you?
Definitely. He's a quality player. Why wouldn't you want him at Arsenal?
I think he's a risk at that money. I think he's a risk at that money.
I wouldn't pay over 100 million for him.
I think you'd have to. I think they'll charge one. I don't think they're going to make any discounts. They're not sorry.
There's a worry here.
You know what I mean? They're not sorry.
There's a worry here that once a relationship is fractured between a player and the club, then the club can dig their heels in, just like they did with Mbappe.
Yeah.
The Mbappe situation, it really made you realise, like, and the one thing I would say, if you're looking at it from a Napoli point of view, is don't leave it too long, because the longer, with every day that goes by, the more strong Osimhen gets in. He then calls, where do I go, how much money for? So I don't think they should sell him as soon as they can if the relationship is gone, because they don't want to get into that kind of Mbappe situation. That would be a nightmare.
Well, if we look from an English perspective at the moment, there's a couple of clubs that you're looking at and you're thinking, okay, you need a number 9, you need a goal scorer. Arsenal, not to the extent of Chelsea, but would need someone like that. But let's be honest, Arsenal aren't putting up that sort of money for Osimhen. So the only one that you could see would maybe be Chelsea. But obviously, if you said to me now as a Chelsea fan, do I want us to sign him for 150 million or something? No, definitely not. But if we could get him, you know, if we could get him for what I would say is a sensible price, which, you know,
that ain't happening, is it?
No, it's not. So then I would say no.
So you'd say you don't want him for 150?
Not for that sort of money, no.
Osimhen aside, there's no sensible people involved in that conversation, though. That's the problem. Like, the Napoli owner's not sensible. Let's be honest, the Chelsea owner's not sensible.
God, imagine them two having the conversation.
Yeah, innit?
I'd love that. Just be
Like
fly on the wall.
with the two of them.
Mate,
Yeah.
you've got to get them sat on this table, man.
I would have him,
crazy.
but if he's going to rock up there and then get offended when I start making TikToks about him, no, he can go, you know.
Ah, fucking hell. Well, I think it is quite likely, actually. The more I think about it, yeah.
What, him to Chelsea?
It just makes sense.
I think Chelsea makes sense.
Yeah.
He feels like a Chelsea player.
Yeah. More like it makes no sense, and that's why it makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I feel like United could be an option, no?
Nah, not after Højlund. Højlund showed how much they're willing to spend now.
What does it say to Højlund as well if you do that?
Oh, that kills him. Yeah.
don't think there's any reason to. I know we've given a bit of criticism and fairly due to United, but I actually genuinely do look at Højlund and I think, yeah, you're going to be a good
I
player.
think all of us agree that. Yeah,
agree that.
we all said that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the end of this game. It's end stuff, and Liverpool are still trying to find a chance of a goal despite being down to 9 men.
Look at this.
And
look
this
at this,
potentially,
Van der Ven is very good.
they've got a corner.
Liverpool are just because
Those
I had a
big
little check
bodies
just
coming
then.
up.
Liverpool are 18-1 at the minute to win this game.
Why are all these odds?
I'd be tempted on that, man.
The worry for Spurs
There's
is
some big,
look
there's
at that,
some
please.
big bodies coming up for this corner.
you see
Do not
this
look at that chat, please. I don't want to know.
hand in the face.
Oh.
Talk to the hand because the
Lucky
face ain't
boy.
listening, boy.
Yeah.
He's a lucky boy.
Sit down.
I would worry for Spurs mentally. I think it would be a smart bet to put money on Spurs dropping points after this game because energy-wise, Spurs have put a lot into this game. And if emotionally they don't get that reward, it'll be interesting to know how they bounce back. Because I remember Newcastle, we really dropped the level after we struggled with Liverpool.
Why is it not a corner?
Can I just say, it's a bit mad.
It's a
that-
free kick because of the push in the face.
It's a bit mad that
Oh my God.
Spurs look the more leggy team here in 88 minutes when they've
you know
got
why?
9.
You know why though?
9
And,
men.
look, I'm not suggesting that.
Like, what are you doing? Why are you holding on to the ball for so long?
They're the ones with the responsibility almost to go and win the match,
Liverpool
aren't
have
they?
been sat back and they haven't been running as much because
They
they've
haven't
been in
been
their own
doing
third. Whereas Spurs, I think they're trying to run as much as they can, but there's just no space to run into.
Look at
Liverpool have been really disciplined here.
Yeah.
We
You're
should
going to win
never-
your bet,
we
you
should-
bastard.
We should never have conceded that goal right before half time.
Chance.
Here we go.
Here it is.
Madison.
Oh, that is shite from Madison.
Horrible shot. Foul.
Didn't he look really leggy there, Madison, the way he swung that at the ball there?
This is what I'm saying. Spurs look tired, and I'm really surprised that they are looking the more tired team.
Yep, definitely
It's
are.
weird. It's a weird one.
Liverpool
bloody
get players sent off
We
and
have
it works
fucked
for them
this,
almost.
man. I cannot believe it. How have we done? Oh.
Well, you've still
a chance to go second.
got definitely 10 minutes left in this game. But the problem is with the run of play and with
Madison coming off.
your
Yeah,
your
he's
creativity
mate.
zapped now, hasn't it? A little bit.
He looked exhausted.
Yeah, the fact that he couldn't even swing his boot at that
Who is
shot
this?
wasn't good.
And he wasn't looking like.
Do you
he was
not know
gonna
who this
even-
is?
No.
Fuck me, we're fucked then. I'm not expected to know anything.
What
They're
is
making a
it?
couple
How
of
is
changes.
Ange going to
Højbjerg.
explain?
I can't believe he's still there,
Velez,
man.
I don't know who
Velez.
that is. How is Ange going to explain this after the game then? What are you going to say?
I don't know why you're bringing on another holding midfielder. I get you taking one off. Surely you're
Richarlison
taking-
is,
surely you're
is,
taking-
is a passenger as well.
Do you not think Ange, when he comes after the game and they say, Craig Mitchell said that this is pathetic, what you say to that? I hope he turns around and goes, we're undefeated. How about that? Yeah?
Oh, look, they could score. Look, what is going on? How? Oh, I hate games like this. I hate
Trent
this.
wins a throw in, high up the
I hate
pitch.
it.
All they
And
need is a set
Oh,
piece,
and he
Liverpool.
cheers the crowd on.
I hate
6 minutes.
How
It
is
should
there
be way
only
more than
6
that.
minutes?
It should be way more than
There's
that.
been subs, there's been red cards. How is there 6 minutes?
2 red cards.
Is it right in thinking there's like 30 seconds per
Look,
event
where's the
like
composure?
that?
Look, let's see the composure.
So if there's been like 7 substitutes,
What
2
is it?
red cards, 2 goals.
They're meant to stop the clock now. They're meant, i.e., they're meant to record the time, so it should be however long it takes.
How
for a
is
player to
there
get off the
only
pitch.
6 minutes?
It's mad. That's mad. Here we go. They're attacking.
Richarlison.
Oh.
Oh, and it's a terrible.
What was that?
touch.
What
Not
was
the
he
best
doing?
touch.
It's
What
6
was he
minutes
doing?
because there was maybe a questionable sending off for the second red card, and they should have given them a goal in the first half. So they've gone. Do you know what? Due to our lack of
Incompetence.
incompetence. That's the word. That's the word I was looking for. Due to our incompetence, we just give them 6 minutes. and
pedal
just,
fucking
pedal
dexterous.
dexterous.
This has ruined my day, honestly, man.
You haven't lost though.
Yeah, but that's
Yes.
Look, the point is, we could have went second. They've got 9 men. We're at home. We never beat Liverpool. This is our best chance. It's just like last week against Arsenal. We wouldn't have had a better chance to beat Arsenal at the Emirates than last week.
These are the games for me that you see Liverpool's mentality, and this is why I feel
Uh-oh.
that they are right up there now. Like I feel that they are title challengers because if they're getting points out of these games when you're down to 9 men, like you've got to rate them. Surely they've been very, very impressive at the start of the season.
Win that ball.
Very impressive.
The only question for me about Liverpool is what happens when the Europa League picks up and there's a little few more games, and just because I don't think that they've got, as much as they've got reinforcements in attack, the rest of their team I think is a bit thin.
I know the squad travel and whatnot, and I do understand
travel,
that.
boy.
But I do actually think that they'll play the kids until knockout stages of that anyway. So
I've been impressed by their squad today. I've got to say, I think they brought on 5 players today, and every single one of them's come on and done well. And every time one of them comes on, you go, "Yeah, fair, that's a decent player." And I think that's been the difference between them and Spurs today.
and
By the way,
Spurs
we-
put on
Spurs-
someone that Craig didn't
Exactly.
know.
But also, we haven't
That
been
is a
good.
good
point.
We just haven't been good from the first whistle.
When your own club brings a player on and you're like, fuck the man.
Whilst chasing a game.
Yeah, it's bad, isn't it? Like, that would never happen for Newcastle for me, and I don't think it would happen. Even with Chelsea, it's a million new players, that wouldn't happen.
You got a lot to remember.
So why did he do it? Why did he do it?
Oh God! Oh, he needs the inhaler. He needs the inhaler, quick.
What is he doing?
Dear.
Look, we're in the 93rd minute here, and pressure's on. Final third, it's a cross in.
You're not going to beat Van Dijk and
The
Matic.
problem is as Craig rightly shouts, they're trying to lump balls into the box when, if there's anything these Liverpool back four are going to be good at, they're all big lads, and they're cleaning up comfortably. It's not.
Play it on the
There's
ground.
not enough running going on here.
Oh my
Touch.
God. Don't shoot.
And it's just hard to even get a clear shot at goal. Even
Yeah.
with 9 men, Liverpool's positioning in defence here is so sound.
We have to play some good bit of 1-2 play to get through them, and we're
You
not
need
even
someone to
doing
open it
that.
up.
You haven't got the personnel to do it.
Madison's
at the minute on
sat
the
on
pitch.
the bench resting his
Don't
dog.
shoot. Fuck me, man.
Tottenham players aren't getting close to each other.
Yeah.
One player will go down the side, then they go backwards.
There's no intelligence to their play right now at all. It looks,
This is a
Disjoint-
huge opportunity missed, man.
yeah. Even at 70 minutes or whatever, it just felt predictable, this, didn't it? You could see, the juice was running low.
They lack a
Pass
player.
the ball.
They lack a player in the final third.
Yeah. It's such a frustrating thing, because I've been here against Liverpool as well, Newcastle, and it was so annoying. And that is
Get it
terrible.
off.
Do you think the Jones red card was a red card? Everyone around the table. Do you think that was?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hands up.
Yeah.
When I first saw it, I didn't.
Yeah.
Because he got the ball first. I think he followed through too hard, and it is. But when I first saw it, I wasn't sure.
If we're going on red
Honestly.
cards that have been given this season, it was twice as bad as
Well, yeah.
certain red cards I've seen given this season.
Do you mean the one where it hit you, on
He
the high on
follows
the
through,
left?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
look, I'm not saying it was intentional, but that doesn't. Dangerous play is not about intent. You followed through. Your studs went middle of the leg. You could have broken his leg. End of story. There's not. I get 10 years ago we would have been like, well, it wasn't deliberate. Or well, fucking, we can't say that now when people are getting sent off for next to nothing. The other one's debatable.
Yeah, the other
Yeah.
one, Jota's one was.
Yeah.
We weren't sure on, but then the offside call, that is a mistake.
I think Liverpool fans will have a rant about these the referees, yeah, and they'll have a fair point. But the first red card, I'm not complaining about.
Keeper, come get that.
Right.
Oh my God. You're just making hard work of simple things. If he beats you, if he goes round you, Van der Ven, I like that.
Almost.
Oh, well done, good play.
He's very pacey.
Right,
as well.
you've got
This
to
is where
go
you
now.
need to-
Last
This is
minute.
it. Why they're
Last
stretched.
Last
And
minute.
They
you've
need-
actually
Go on,
got
one
quite
more
a
ball.
ball here.
Again.
Hurry up.
Get forward.
Quick,
Where's
quick,
the
get
run?
forward.
Where's the run?
Run.
Bodies.
Make the right
There it
pass,
is.
please. There we, no, they're
No,
back.
slowed it down.
They're back
Needs
in
another
shade.
run.
Slowed it
Is
down.
he going to fuck this like he did before?
Take them all on. Fuck it.
Oh, he is
Oh,
shite.
wow.
Is that Kulisevsky?
Kulisevsky.
He
yeah.
takes way
You
too
know
many
what?
touches.
That Kulisevsky, he was fucking shit before. He's been fucking
No, he-
shit there. What is he doing?
This is what I'm talking
He's been shit before. He's been shit again.
That wasn't Kulisevsky, but I'll take it.
gonna win it. You thought you were gonna win it. You weren't gonna win it.
Watch the headlight. Watch the lights. Don't worry. That
I'm talking about.
What
You put
has
everyone
just happened?
behind the ball. You put everyone behind the ball. And you still lost.
I've got to say, after Newcastle had this happen to them, I'm kind of happy for Spurs. Yeah, like,
hold on.
bloody
Klopp
hell.
is
on, guys.
fuming.
Luckily, as I was saying, Kulisevsky wasn't involved in this. Because it was some other dude who crossed it in, and it was Matip.
Unbelievable.
Matip
ball.
buries it in his own net.
That is unbelievable.
He's been watching
Oh,
Maguire.
no.
That is Harry Maguire at his
Yeah.
finest, isn't it?
Oh, that's
Harry
all
Maguire
of that
was
hard
proud.
work. So bear in mind, this has been at least 45 minutes back to the wall.
Do you know why that is? I can only assume, and I've never really paid attention to which foot Matip is strongest with. He must be a left-footed player because he chooses to avoid the first foot it comes to, which is his right. If he sticks his right foot out, that goes out for a corner. But because he has to wait till it hits his left, he miskicks it into his own net. And that's just going back to when he was 8 years old, if he just practiced with both feet, that would never have happened.
Calm, boys.
Title challenges.
Can we just-
Title challenges.
Ref, blow the whistle, man.
Craig.
Blow the whistle. They were wasting time. Blow the whistle.
Craig, come on, you've got to say now.
Oh my God! Look at this. Look at
Imagine,
this.
surely.
No, they're
Oh
gonna
my
do it.
God.
They're gonna do it. They're gonna do it.
Oh,
Look at you.
Done.
Look at you.
heart.
This guy's
Blow the whistle, ref.
emotional wreck right now.
Blow the whistle.
Oh, wow. That's
He's not
one of
gonna
my
blow the
favourite
whistle.
goal
He's
reactions
not gonna
I've
do
ever
it.
seen on the show, I swear to God, mate. Well done, Craig.
He's
That
not-
was quality.
He's not gonna blow it. He's not gonna blow it. Why isn't he blowing the
I've
whistle?
never seen anyone breakdance on this table before. We've done a few other things off camera, but
Keep it
forget about
calm. Just keep it calm.
Not us here.
Not
Why
us.
would you do that?
Me and other people. Just to be
Corner flag. Corner flag now. Take it to the corner flag. Oh my God. What is he doing? What is he doing?
Is this it?
it's blowing up.
Full time?
Yes! 3 points. I'd just like to thank God and for the great substitutions. Matip, of course.
What a finish.
Curtis Jones, have to give him a huge shout out for that one. The guys inside the VAR office, amazing stuff. Robbery. The Premier League, my mum. And yeah, that's it, man.
Craig, we were all wondering what would happen if Spurs did not win this game.
Yeah.
I guess we'll never know. There you go, son.
A fine
go.
philosopher by the
There
name
you
of
go.
Kanye West once said that. I don't know if he's still fine now, but
Spurs now, and I have to say, I owe Spurs and Big Ange especially an apology. I thought that they may be finishing mid-table, bottom half of the table with losing Harry Kane. They are now second place, joint points with Arsenal, 1 point behind Manchester City, 7 games gone. They've scored the same amount of goals as Man City.
Yeah.
They are looking fantastic, and they're the real deal by the looks of it.
I have to say, Craig, you're in a title challenge.
We're not.
You've got to admit that now.
We're not.
You have to admit
we're not. How many games has it been?
7.
it. 7.
So there's 31 games left.
Craig, your next
No.
few matches, you got Luton in the league.
That's 3
Fulham,
points.
Palace, Chelsea, Wolves, Villa,
Wow.
Man City. So you've got,
Wow.
realistically, as a Spurs fan, if I've just won that game and I'm looking at the way I've performed, you've got 4 out of your next 6 that are sort of definite wins.
But you know as well as I do, this is the Premier League.
Yeah,
and
I get that.
nothing. Today, did we think Wolves would beat Man City? Did anyone here honestly think Wolves would beat
No,
Man
I
City?
hear you.
I didn't think
like,
you
This
think
is
Liverpool
the Premier League.
I had a feeling.
Like, real talk, like top 4 at least now.
Yes,
Very
yes,
real.
Yes,
Very, very
that's
real.
That's a target.
Yeah.
But that's what I want. Well, it's top 5 now, isn't it now?
No,
It
not
might be top 5.
not
It
the
depends on how
target.
the
Is it
Premier League
happening?
teams perform in the Champions League. We don't know yet. But the point
do.
is, top
Yeah.
4 guaranteed, Champions League. You guys should be really thinking that this is bare minimum now from here.
Yes.
You've started so well.
100%, bare minimum. We ain't got Europe. We're playing well. These kind of wins, like the last 2 goals against Sheffield to bring it back. This, winning it in the way we did against Liverpool. And Liverpool's a bogey team
And
as
drawing
well.
against Arsenal away and showing a
Yes.
resolute performance where you competed with them.
Yeah.
It's pretty special, this.
And us and you lot are still the only 2 unbeaten teams in the league. North London, flying the flag. 0 L's. I know, man. It's
Can
it's a
I-
good feeling.
The only thing I'll say as an Arsenal fan, having watched our team do very similar, you can't spend a season like this.
Yeah.
No, of course
Like you can't do a whole season winning games like that. What Spurs are going to have to find a way of doing now, and I think they can, is finding ways of winning 2-0. Keep
Yeah.
a clean sheet, stop conceding goals, stop leaving it until the last minute, and start just dominating teams.
Maybe this run is the one where we can do that.
That's going to be the expectation
If
now.
we
When
are
you, go
to
to,
look
when
at
you
the-
play Luton,
Yeah.
when you play teams like that, that's what they have to do.
If we are to look at the weaknesses, you make a good point about the clean sheet because in terms of goals for, they're right up there with Manchester City on 17. They've actually scored more than Arsenal and Liverpool, but it's the goals conceded where it's not like they've got a bad defence by any means, but they're just conceding a few more than the rest.
If I'm a Liverpool fan, I'm raging at Klopp after that. I said it to all of you. Bring Núñez on. Have what? I know you've got 9. I know you've got 9 players, but it's not.
You need an outlet.
They need an outlet. You need to push Spurs back a bit.
And Spurs had nothing to respect
They had
and nothing
nothing
to
to
fear.
respect.
And when Núñez scores 2 goals in the last minute against Newcastle, when he walks onto that pitch, every Spurs player goes, "Oh, we got to switch
We've
on
got to
here.
switch on."
We can't just bomb forward. There's a threat."
And every time Liverpool did get the ball, they got through. They did get through. It's just the problem by the end of the game, it was Szoboszlai on his own running through. It was fullbacks running through. There was nothing in the
And what were we all saying about that Spurs team? They look leggy.
They look
Who exposes
leggy.
that better than Nunes? No one.
Like, I, honestly, if I'm a Liverpool fan, and you know what's going to happen, you know Klopp's going to come out and blame referees and blame VAR and blame everything else. And look, I think on certain points he's right to do so. That's on him. If I'm a Liverpool fan right now, I'm going, yeah, stupid red card. The rest of it, it's on him because as good as Spurs were, I think they were there for the taking.
And when you look at how valuable that point is, I get a point in the Premier League is always very valuable. But do you know what? When you're down to 9 men, I think any fan in the stadium there would say, just risk the loss. Risk the loss. Bring Nunes on.
Mentally, it's a win, though, isn't it?
Exactly.
Risk,
For a point. What
risk
does it
losing
matter?
for the gamble of winning,
But they-
rather than playing for the points.
But
sort of thing, by bringing
even then,
defensive
parking the bus
midfielders on.
didn't work.
But
No, exactly.
That's
And
the most
hindsight's a
frustrating
wonderful thing.
That's-
But I think if I was a Liverpool fan, knowing how it went, even if it had ended up with a point and a point only, I'd have said risk that point just to bring Nunes
A lot
on.
of the chat are saying that Nunes was injured, but I find that weird because
Nunes
he's on the
was
bench.
stripped off ready
Nah,
to
He
go.
was on the
ready.
bench.
He was
Nunes
ready.
was stripped
So,
off
but a
ready
lot
to
of
go.
people are saying that he's injured.
Madison was injured.
Rubbish.
He played.
He was ready to. We all saw him.
He was stripped off,
ready
yeah.
to come on the pitch. He's not injured.
Look, and look, I know it's harsh because down to 9 men, Jurgen Klopp's team performed admirably. And I really want to give a bit of credit to them because I have slagged them off at times this season just because of the Jurgen Klopp thing, specifically Jurgen Klopp. But they fought like their lives depended on it. And I could say probably were the better side in context of only having 9 men. And I've been very impressed with Liverpool this season, and I don't think that this is any reason for their fans to be like, fuck it, we're in trouble now. Like, everything is saying Liverpool are going to finish top 4. Like, this one result doesn't change it, but they do need to have a bit of a rethink in terms of, I don't know, like... Jones there, that I do think that was a red card personally. I know people would say it's not deliberate, but I do think it was high. But the other one, very debatable, and the offside for me wasn't an offside goal. It was a fair goal.
It wasn't, and this
That's
is why
scandalous that we can get that wrong at this point.
this is why Liverpool fans are feeling a bit harshly done by today. And so
Oh,
I don't think we can blame Klopp. I don't think we can blame Klopp.
Blame
for
him.
today.
Blame him. Boo-hoo. It's my turn now. Boo-hoo. You tried to park your 9 men right on the goal line, all of you. And this is what happens. An own goal is the risk you take when you do that. If Matip's basically sitting right in front of Alisson, this is the risk you're taking. And it almost worked. We kept going. I lost faith. I'm not going to lie. I lost faith a long time
You were
ago.
depressed. You were
But they
depressed for
didn't.
half the game.
Half the game.
Half
I
the
lost
game.
faith. I was negative. I was pessimistic. But they didn't stop trying. The ball still got put in the box, and Matip tried to defend it and end up in the back of the net. I'm sorry, Curtis Jones, that was a nail on red in my opinion. The VAR decision was dubious. I'm not going to dispute that. That was very weird. None of us could figure that out. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. You take the rough
The
with
end
the
of the day,
smooth.
it is what it
These
is.
things go Liverpool's way sometime. I've watched leagues under Klopp where things have gone their way. Weird little things.
There's
That's
you.
football.
There's you.
Second
Right.
in the table. 1
Right
point
up there.
behind Manchester
Right up
City.
there.
Above Arsenal. How it should be. How it's been all season. I like that. I like that. I like it.
I've got to say, I'm taking a little bit of pleasure in this because Liverpool did absolutely hammer us right at the death, and a lot of Liverpool fans sent me a lot of messages. So that's one's for you.
I tell you what, I'm not reveling in the fact that I lost my bet in the last seconds.
I forgot about that. 20 quid. Thank you very much. Champion. Shout out to Fair Play for the 20 quid that you've enabled me to get off of me mate Josh. Don't forget, by the way, you lot can all join in with your mates, playing, betting, all of your WhatsApp chats, settle those debates using the link in the description below. If you love the kickoff, make sure you support Fair Play because they support us. And the code when you're signing up is TKO. You get a free £5 bet. They take no money off of you guys. This isn't a bookie. It's literally just an easy way to bet against your mates. You set the bet out, you set the fee, you send it to your mate. It literally arrives like a message on the app. Boom, accepted, done. And you can bet on anything. Who can drink more in a night? Although I wouldn't recommend that one, just to be clear. Great game. Thoroughly enjoyed that, lads. Good stream.
Loved
that was
it.
it. I've got to say, shout out to Jacob. Smashed it on his debut. Well done.
Yes,
mate.
you did.
Thank you very
Honestly,
much.
Really did.
Proper good debut. Big love to all the lads. Don't forget, you can check them all out, all the YouTube channels out. And we will see you next Wednesday when Newcastle are playing PSG in the Champions League. Catch you later.